A bit of nostalgia is in store tonight for Father's Day 85, presented by the Reeveses at the infamous iRacing Superspeedway, as it boasts unrestricted speeds like no other. The wildest speeds of the season is coming up next on Pit Stop TV. Good evening all, and welcome to the virtual iRacing Super Speedway. I am Member Star, and I have Devin Zimmerman and Ed Shearer alongside to bring you all the amazing Super Speedway racing action tonight on what truly is, well, first of all, it's virtual, but what truly is, I think, the pinnacle racing facility. It is just 3 miles of straight up asphalt that loops back around, and you don't have to lift if you're running this bad boy by yourself. Boys, welcome to iRacing Super Speedway. How we doing tonight?
Hey Emerson, we're doing great, I think. We're going to see some really high speeds and also some really close racing tonight from iRacing Super Speedway. And, I mean, it could get really dicey very quickly, or it could get very strung out. It just depends on when we get to that first pit stop, if guys are able to pit together and work this pit strategy to their favor so they can get towards the front and stay there. Without that, they're going to find this track very hard to tame indeed, and very hard to stay at the front.
Absolutely. And Ed, when we talk about this track, it is massively wide. We have 36 degrees of banking in the corners. And I guess it's going to go ahead and cue us into the track map with that anyway. You can kind of see the fastest lap times there on the left-hand side. We don't have Gen 7 times just yet, but these bad boys, looks like they're running 55 seconds out there. Still, massively quick speeds around here, Ed. When you think of iRacing Super Speedway, I know it's a track we don't normally see, or we don't see in real life, but on the iRacing, in the iRacing community, and I guess with that, the Papyrus game community, this track truly is a jewel of both communities.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about one of the fastest super speedways that are on the circuit right now for iRacing. I mean, going about 180, 190 miles an hour into the corners, then on the straightaways going about 210 to 220. You know, we got those high bank corners, you know, for a lot of action. You can run the bottom, you can run the middle, you can run the top. But, I mean, everyone prefers that bottom line as usual. But, you know, we're looking for some high-speed action, possibly some big ones, maybe even a little bit of chaos towards the end. I mean, you can go about 5 wide here at this track. So, it's definitely going to be an exciting one tonight.
Absolutely. And, again, once again, taking a look at our track map presented by Whiplash Media Sim Cams. And again, you see those times on the left side. Those boys were moving. We are a little slower tonight, but nonetheless, it's because these next generation Cup vehicles are something else. They are glued to these tracks. So at a track like this, they don't really see themselves out of control. They're very planted, and you can really have some fun if you're one of these drivers coming into tonight's race, Devin. And with that, we take a look at the point standings. And Max Service, I already heard that he's just straight up using his Talladega setup from earlier on in the season. I imagine a lot of drivers are looking to do the same. You think of Talladega, it has 33 degrees of banking in the corners. We're not too much more. We have 36 degrees of banking here. Maybe a little bit of an adjustment so these cars can handle and not bottoming out there into turn 1. But at that, Max Service, the top of the point sheet, 722 points to his name. Seth Berger has moved up into second. He's 13 points back. His second win on the season. Jonathan Jennings is third, 24 points back. A little bit of a gap back to Stutzman and Fitzpatrick, but they are as tight as ever, 85 and 86 points back, respectively. Scott Bailey finds himself sixth, just 8 points ahead of Zoltan Herczek. Jacob Reeves, the race they sponsor for today, he finds himself eighth in the point standings, and it's Schumacher and Gilliard tied at the ninth position. Schumacher with that win to his name. But then we look at these point standings here. And on the other side, we're starting to see some pretty large gaps around that cut line. I know you haven't been here with us the past few weeks, but what are you taking away from what you see here, 11th through 20th?
Yeah, definitely some time to get moving if you're on the outside looking in. Right now, Adam Gardner sitting in the 11th spot. Doug Solms right behind him, silently, well, not really silently, I guess, but just quietly having himself a very good season currently in the playoffs picture at the moment. Andrew St. Cyr sitting behind them in 13th. Derek Murchie behind them in 14th. And then Bothwell sitting there in the 15th position. And then Joseph Causey, who hasn't been here in a while, and Greg Holt as well, sitting there 16th and 17th. And then Devin Smith Gianni there, or Giannini, excuse me, there in the 19th position, and then Aldrich in 20th. And for those guys that are outside the top 16, they really got to pick up the pace and start scoring some of these points. And then what better way to do it tonight? Work with your teammates, get out to the front, and draft your way to a very good finish. Just watch out for the bump draft. If you hit them wrong, you could end somebody's night early.
You're totally right. And when we talk about these super speedways and these plate tracks, it is all about teamwork, as you rightfully mentioned, Devin. These boys, they like to get as many people into their Discord channels as possible, try to get as many people lined up with them. I know we have a couple names making one of their few starts on the season tonight just to help out their teams. And that is a lot of what we're going to be seeing tonight here at the iRacing Super Speedway. A lot of that teamwork tonight. And how important is teamwork at a place like this? I guess any super speedway, but at iRacing Super Speedway, being that it's so wide and you have a lot of room to coordinate with your team, how important is it?
It's important, trust me. When you get to closer to that bubble where we get into the playoffs, you know, any kind of teammate support matters in this situation. Like, you could be, I don't know, maybe a safe cutoff line. Maybe I would say like the top 5 in points would be, I would say, reasonable to help everybody else that's on your team that's down below the cut line possibly. So I definitely think it's really important. You know, we've seen a lot more drivers starting to come in the past coming weeks, so starting to see a little bit more help starting to come to some drivers' ways. But definitely going to be interesting as we're getting closer to the playoffs.
You're absolutely right, and that is another thing we will be taking a look at tonight, is that run to the playoffs that we've been pretty much pestering on. We are past that off week after the Texas Motor Speedway, and we are now solidly into our run to the playoffs. Our next off week should occur in the playoffs. So Devin, what you've kind of missed with us, you missed out on Martinsville and IRP and Texas. Those are some wild shows. Zoltan Hertzeg narrowly beat out Seth at Martinsville. IRP was quite of a wicked show as well, and Texas saw a very clean race. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, Seth Berger ended up getting his victory there done at Texas as well. So that's time to catch you up. But what we got coming up next here, Devin, is quite the lineup. We go from this 3-mile speed palace that is the iRacing Super Speedway. Then we head up north to, well, we are, I guess, technically in virtual Massachusetts. But we head a little bit more north to New Hampshire for Loudon, New Hampshire's Magic Mile. Then the 2-mile D-shaped oval out in Michigan. The dirt track, the half-mile dirt oval at Eldora. The 2.5-mile Super Speedway at Daytona. The 2 and change, I guess 2.25 mile road course out in Northern California with WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. The 2.5 mile tricky triangle at Pocono. The 1 mile dog-legged short oval at Phoenix, and a 1.5 mile at Charlotte, Devin, before we finally get into that really nitty-gritty playoff run.
Yeah, then 2 very important races to close out the regular season. The first one at Bristol on the asphalt. We've already done and tackled Bristol with the dirt track layout. We will be tackling Bristol in the asphalt layout, the normal high-banked last Coliseum there. And then we head to Nashville Super Speedway, the 1 1.3 mile track there in Nashville. And that's going to be our playoff, or our playoff setter. That's going to be the end of the regular season. Then we get into the first round, Daytona Road Course, Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Mile, and the Charlotte Roval are round 1. Some very technical tracks, 2 road courses in the first round, so that could really throw some guys for a loop. Then we head to the short track of USA International in Florida, and then Talladega and Darlington. Some 3 very different tracks in round 2 just to keep these drivers on edge. Then we head to Homestead, Miami, and Atlanta and North Wilkesboro in round 3. And North Wilkesboro will be that last race that sets up the championship round in Richmond, Virginia, at the Richmond Speedway there. And it's going to be a great run all the way through the playoffs. There is not a round you can take off. There's not a race you can take off in those playoffs. It is absolutely amazing of schedule that we have here.
You're right, Devin. Truer words have not been spoken. There is no breaks now. We have gone through the off week. We have one more off week in the playoffs. That is your only break between now and Richmond. And so, Ed, with that being said, how important is it to start racking that momentum up across the plethora of track types we've got coming up with the super speedways and the short ovals and the dirt track and the road courses that we have coming up, Ed?
Oh, it's pretty important knowing that we got two unknowns coming up soon. We got Eldora and Laguna Seca. Both we have no idea how it's going to handle with the NextGen card. But another big one that I'm going to circle is probably week 20 when we go to Daytona. Again, it's going to be like tonight. It's going to be like week 1 where anybody can win that and mark their way into the playoffs. So it's definitely going to be interesting. It's going to be a big points night for everybody like tonight. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of action we got.
And you're right. And we think about, the winners we've had this season at these super speedways. Daytona, we had Joshua Land Fox make his one-off start this season at Daytona and take that victory. And it was Seth who ended up winning at Talladega, Seth Berger. And it took him till the Texas Motor Speedway 2 weeks ago for him to really notch himself as a race winner this season. Because I know how a Talladega win is viewed amongst the community and amongst the drivers in this league. And I know Seth is no slouch. And so I was a little worried that his only win on the season was Talladega. He has since, shut everyone up. He took it to everybody at Texas. And we are now here at the iRacing Super Speedway after an off week, after update to these next-gen cards, which we haven't even mentioned yet, boys. These cars are a little bit different. What we've heard about the update to these cars and what we know is that these bad boys have more rear tire grip. And while that may not necessarily mean too much tonight, I'm looking towards like the road course coming up at Laguna Seca. I'm looking towards the Magic Mile at New Hampshire. These cars are going to handle pretty well for some flat and slick tracks.
Yeah, it definitely is. With those improved rear grip on the tires, you're going to be able to get off the turns a lot better. Before the update that happened, these cars were very touchy, and just any little wrong input from the gas pedal would send you around the loop, the rear end. It felt like you were just the rear tires were just kind of gliding on the track and not really attached. But now you can really feel the difference in the rear tire. You can really get good runs off the turns. If you save that rear tire really well, then you are going to be much faster down these straightaways, and that includes road courses. When you're trying to set up passing, if you can get the run off the turn, you can really set yourself up well for the next turn to get a pass completed.
Real quick, I want to shout out all of our partners here at Pit Stop TV. That, of course, of Whiplash Media Sim Cams, where they bring you the beautiful sights and sounds of the sim that we are able to bring to you each and every week. And, of course, if you want to get your own Whiplash Media Sim Cam pack, just go ahead and head over to www.pitstoptv/Whiplash. Our newest partner on the list is SimWrap Market, and of course, if you want to find out more about them, simwrapmarket.com, the official paint provider of Pit Stop TV, and of course, permanent makeup and cryo in Maine. You deserve the best care that money can buy. And now with 3 minutes left in this practice session, I've heard from Devin now. I want to hear from you because all three of us, we ran a big race at Texas last night. What do you make of the update to this next generation Cup vehicle?
It's interesting. I recently liked the Super Speedway package that we had like way before, so it's changed a little bit, and I like how we can now see the tire cording now on the tires, so we can definitely see the wear and tear that these drivers put in on the car. So other than that, the aerodynamics part is pretty interesting. Plus, we have a new damage model. You can, when you used to smack the wall, you'd be done just about. You would lose all your speed and everything. But you can tap that wall a couple times before it actually affecting you. You can basically what it does, it just gives you a scratch now. So it's definitely going to be put to the test, I think, here tonight. I don't know, we're at a super speedway. I don't know if we're going to see the scratches and bruises, but I think we might see some little body parts and all that kind of stuff flying out there. These body panels don't tend to come off really easily. So, yeah, high speeds, I think some fans are going to come home with some souvenirs tonight.
Most definitely. That, I think, has been the most hype part of this iRacing 2022 Season 3 update is the new damage model to these Cup vehicles. It is the first time we really get to experiment with this new damage model on these Cup vehicles, besides the very brief 2-3 day stint where we had him on the Generation 6 Cup vehicle. We finally get him here in the Gen 7, and it looks like it is here to stay, at least for the time being, and boy, it is going to give us quite the show tonight, with the potential for virtual accidents we may see tonight. But boys, a minute and a half left here in the practice session, and our Season 1 Daytona race winner, Adrian Schumacher, is atop of the practice sheets. His only win on an oval was at the Daytona International Superspeedway, and looking poised to do so again. But I understand these are practice times. And Devin, I mean, how much can we really take away from practice times here at the iRacing Superspeedway?
Well, you see whose car is hooked up in the draft. So when it gets into the race set and the race, specifications of the setups, you can see whose car is really working well to keep up with the pack and to get pushing done. So it's very interesting to have to see that and how it's working. But as far as qualifying times go, it's going to be neither here nor there. You're not really going to see any correlation with those speeds on the qualifying setup. Now, I mean, that's not to say that Adrian can't go out there and has a really good qualifying setup, but we're not going to see anywhere near the speeds that we're seeing in the draft with these current times that we're seeing.
And that is what we are going to find out here in just a few moments' time. And now, Ed, when we come to qualifying here at the super speedways, we know the drill for the most part. You get out, you get past the pit exit cone as quickly as possible, and you get up to that top side there on the racetrack, and you let her rip until you come around to the start-finish line. The question I then ask is, these boys have 3 laps. What lap is going to be the timed lap that you put down?
I think I'll take that one.
Sure.
I don't know. I think Ed has stepped away, but that second lap is probably going to be the one that you're going to look to set your fast one on. What we've noticed in this next gen car is that the gas load in the car, once it goes away, it seems like the rear spoiler gets put more up in the air and creates a lot more drag on the back end of the car, holding the car from reaching more speed. So it seems like you want to save fuel as much as you can and really use as little bit as you can getting up to speed, and then go for it possibly on that second lap, using the first lap to make sure you get up to speed. So I don't think the third lap's going to be viable in any way. I think we're going to see those fast times come on lap number 2. Now, if they can get it wound up very quickly through this very, very long back straightaway and the long turn 3 and 4, then we might be able to see it on lap 1. It's just a matter of what they're going through, what their strategies are. We'll have to see here when we get our first runners. It looks like Petron's on the track at the moment running the high line, and this is exactly what you need to do to build up speed. It looks like he's really going for it, so he might be trying to see if that first lap is going to be the taker.
And you see he goes straight down to the bottom side of the racetrack, and again, we're seeing speeds right now 181 miles an hour. These are actually some of the slowest speeds we've seen here at the iRacing Superspeedway, and you know, it is pretty ironic to say 180 miles an hour is slow by any means, but when we're talking about unrestricted plate track speeds, we look at these Gen 7 cars and they are just so glued to the ground. I mentioned that they are glued to the track and you can really slam these things. But that's part of that these cars are so stable, and that is because, unfortunately, of the reduction of speed in these machines. So we still right on board with Mike Petron as he heads his way down into turns 3 and 4, and he decided to go for it on lap number 1.
Yeah, he did, and I'm not sure what time he's going to have here, but he definitely went for it, came in right down on the bottom. It looks like 4th gear all the way around. So we see James Gilliard go to the top of the charts, and then Petron to the top of the charts by about a half a second. So maybe Gilliard's going for it on his second lap. Jonathan Jennings now to the top of the chart. Man, the times are just flying.
So how about this driver? Driver of the number 17, Reese Schaefer, taking to the track in his second Outlaws Sim Series start of the season. And again, last week was his first Outlaws Sim Series start in 37 races. We have not seen Reese Schaefer in this series before last race at Texas Motor Speedway since he won the season finale at the Kansas Motor Speedway. I'm sorry, Kansas Speedway. And Reese Schaefer out there, he is now headed down to the bottom a little late in the corner. I wonder if Schaefer is kind of experimenting out here right now, especially since he is just out here for the fun of it.
Yeah, he's out there for the fun, and he's setting a semi-decent time, not the best time in the world, putting him P10 at the moment. But now he's down on the bottom through the turn here. Tried to get the run off of the banking there, it looked like, into turn one. But Max Service looks like he's going for it on his next lap. He's up high, trying to get as much speed in his 81 machine, the points leader here. Let's see what he does coming off of turn four.
Yeah, Max getting the top run on the top. I mean, coming to your out lap, you definitely want to get all the speed you can out of it running the top lane. And I'm going to be interested to see if he goes to the bottom here for this next lap or if he's going to stay to the top and try to get some more speed out of it. Because here, it's definitely a little bit more trickier than our Talladegas and Daytonas. You can run it a little bit higher. You can even diamond the corner. You can, like we saw Reese Schaefer do earlier, like you can basically go from the top to the bottom to carry as much XX speed as you can possibly. But we see here, Max is running the top again for his top lap as we're on board now with Villalobos, who had a great run last week at Texas. Running the bottom on his second lap, I believe, right now, or his third. Actually, I think, yes, his second lap. So definitely going to be all you can. Pay to that yellow line. Definitely don't want to overstep your boundaries, but you just got to watch him on the entry here. There's these big bumps that are in the entries of both 1 and turns 3 that can easily get the car skewed right here. As you can see it right about there. If you hit it at the wrong angle, it's going to take that car and upset it a little bit. Even possibly you can scrape the apron too, and that will mess up the car a tad bit too. So you definitely got to watch out for those treacherous corners.
On board with Villalobos as he heads his way down to the start-finish line, and Villalobos crosses the line. He will not improve. It'll be still 6th quickest for the 45 machine. And you're right, this is a driver who had a pretty good run last week. Albeit it was a caution-free race last time out at the Texas Motor Speedway. He made up, I believe, the most spots in the field last time out. But Devin, your welcome back race here for us here at the Outlaws Sim Series is this race here at the iRacing Super Speedway. And what are you looking forward to as we see the rest of these times, the rest of these drivers finish up their qualifying runs?
Just looking to see how the teams work together. It's all going to be about teamwork at plate tracks or even unrestricted tracks where it's just wide open the entire time. You really have to work together. You have to strategize when you pit. You have to pit together. You have to come off together and make sure that no one is really left out. If it is, then you get left behind, especially here because, as we see, the speeds are nowhere near where they are in the pack as they are by yourself. Also going to be interesting to see what kind of drafting we see, whether it's just going to be kind of sit and ride for a while when the bump draft happens. We'll have to see when that starts to occur. And then there's been talk of tandem drafting, so whether or not that's going to occur and if we could see somebody pull up a win tandem drafting. So it'll be interesting to see again what happens here, but we're watching Jeremiah Stutzman now down the backstretch. It's very long back stretch and front stretch here. He's not even halfway. I think he just hit halfway right there. So you can see how long this track is, 3 miles all the way around. So, getting his money's worth right there on the yellow line.
Yeah, and I just want to touch base. How about our top 5 currently right now, Devin? Our whole top 5 right now is last chance racing drivers. The last time we went to a super speedway, me and Emerson covered it. We had a lot of tandem drafting going on, as Emerson, you can recall. Remember, Herzig and I believe it was Shelton, who basically by themselves was able to pass like the whole pack by themselves tandem drafting. So we're not going to see, I don't think, either one of them tonight, but it's going to be interesting to see who could possibly step up and do that same kind of strategy. I mean, there's a couple of those B&G Motorsport guys, but I don't think they can redo the same thing. But I'm definitely looking at those last chance guys. It's right now, they're just sitting 1 through 5 right now in our qualifying sheets.
You're correct there, Ed. And I'm not mistaken, actually, I think there is the top 6 is Last Chance Racing, and we have now 2 minutes left here in the qualifying session, and we look to our multi-time pole winner of last season, Brad Boffel, who just absolutely took him to school last season, out here in his number 31 machine. Looking to see if we can do the same. At least tonight, he still has yet to score a pole this season.
Yeah, no pole this season for Bothwell, and it's unfortunate because he was so good in the last generation car, the Gen 6 car, but still trying to figure out this next gen car, or sorry, the truck last season, my fault. And yeah, just this next gen car, he was just not able to put it together so far, but he's been getting better and better each week. And we'll see when he comes to the line now, as he's on the front stretch coming to the line. It's going to be very close.
Yeah, Devin, Brad Bothwell has not had the season we all expected him to. Excuse me. As the last couple of races I've been watching him, and the Indianapolis Raceway Park, that was one I was looking at him because he was running fastest in practice, but he couldn't get the racing pace down. He kept struggling and got involved in some wrecks. Just not the season that Brad Bothwell has been looking for, but I'm hoping tonight might be a difference maker. Every time I go to Super Speedway, it could be anybody. You could say the major favorite could be, our top 3 in points. It could be somebody that's down in like the top 15s that can win this race possibly and make a big night in the points. So, it's really hard to pick a certain driver to turn his race season around. But if I'm going to look at somebody that could turn their race season around, it's Brad Bothwell. I mean, this has to be circled on his schedule, possibly here in Daytona, to turn his season around.
Well, here we go. Brad Bothwell, the last driver to come and set a time. And he will stay 14th quickest. And that'll do it for our qualifying today. And our Pratt Tile and Stone Pole Award winner is driver of the number 22, Jacob Reeves. Pratt Tile and Stone, serving Central Vermont since 2005. And gentlemen, we are now into the race session and ready to do battle for 85 laps of high-speed, high-octane action. And we have a starting lineup to go through as well. And with that being said, it is driver of the number 22, Jacob Reeves, on the pole position. To his outside is the 69 of John Mickey. Row 2, it'll be the 91 of Jonathan Jennings. The 2 of Seth Fitzpatrick. He will be in the 4th position. Row number 3, it'll be the 41 of Mike Petrin. The 84 of Derek McMurtry. He will start in 6th. The 95 of Devin Smith will start 7th. The 81 of Max Service, our point leader, will leave the grid off in the 8th position. And row number 5 will be the 71 of Jeremiah Stutzman. The 45 of Julio Villalobos will be 10th.
Yeah, then row number 6, we're going to see Reese Schaefer into his outside, his Swift Racing teammate, Adrian Schumacher, there in 12th. And then in row number 7, we're going to see the inside will be Matt Setzer, and to his outside, Brad Bothwell in 14th. Next row, we'll see Seth Berger, and to his outside, James Gilliard. Then we see Adam Gardner and Daniel Molnix in 17th and 18th. And then finally in row 10, Andrew St. Cour and Matt Rogers there in the 12 and 26, respectively. And then Doug Soames in 21st, rounding out the grid.
That is our 21 car field for tonight's Father's Day 85, presented by the Reeves family. And tonight is an 85 lap race. As previously mentioned, stages will be awarded at the completion of lap 17 and lap 39. And let's go ahead and take a look at the weather for tonight's race. Track temp 111 degrees. Not too hot. Well, not boiling hot, but not too cool either. It is pretty steamy out there. The air temp near 82 degrees Fahrenheit, partially cloudy, and the winds starting to peak up a little bit, 7 miles an hour out of the west.
Yeah, she'd be hot. Not gonna lie. It's gonna be interesting to see. So, we have grip issues the last couple of weeks where people were struggling with grip. But last week at Texas, which was surprising, it was pretty cool. So, I'm definitely looking forward to see tonight. It's gonna be interesting to see how these cars are gonna handle with each other around. So, that would be interesting to see. Let's see if this track temperature possibly changes to maybe impact something down the race, because I know these people probably have their tape all the way about max, so we'll see what happens.
Right on. And this field about to do battle for the first time tonight here at the iRacing Super Speedway. It's the first time this track has been featured in the Outlaws Sim Series. It's been thought of to be added to the schedule in the past, but there's been no real movements to get it on the schedule until this season. It just seemingly found it had its place on the schedule. We were still skeptical of how these cars would handle into turn number 1, but that is for the drivers to figure out. And to survive 85 laps around this high-speed 3-mile oval with 36 degrees of banking. This track featured on the Papyrus NASCAR games, like NASCAR Racing 2002 season, NASCAR Racing 2003 season, as the Coca-Cola Super Speedway, brought to life here on the iRacing Sim for everybody's memories and nostalgia, and rebranded as the iRacing Super Speedway last year. And the Outlaws Sim Series has decided to put it to good use tonight, as the iRacing.com safety vehicle will find its safety in the pit lane. Gentlemen, we are awaiting the green flag and racing from the iRacing Super Speedway. Two distinct lines is what we've got as the field heads its way down to turn 3. Oh, we got a car going around. That's Matthew Setzer. And we got cars up in the wall. Accident on the first lap here at iRacing Super Speedway. Brad Bothwell involved. Julio Villalobos. Daniel Molnix. Adrian Schumacher.
Yeah, big wreck. It looks like that tricky entry into the turns where it feels like it bottoms out and jumps into the turn. Got Matthew Setzer off of his game, and he clips the apron, slides up into Seth Berger, and then just goes around. So we'll see it here on the replay. You can watch that 5 car. When he enters the turn, he hits the apron, and then it just starts going around on him.
Yeah, it's like I talked about in the pre-race, Devin. Remember, turns 1 and turns 3, you got those treacherous corners that you can easily clip the apron. It's got that little bit of a hiccup on the entry on the bottom. It already takes out 2 of possibly the biggest contenders possibly that are looking for race wins. Last week's winner, Seth Berger, and the 5 Matthew Setzer. So a little bit interesting to see how that started out. We got a couple of good cars that are taking out in that whole race, as we're going to see on the camera view of the 44. It looked like a lot of people almost hit that clip right there. There's just nowhere to go for Matt Setzer, Adam Gardner, Brad Bothwell, who we talked about in the pre-race, Villalobos. It's just an interesting way to start this race, but I don't take any fault for the 5 or the 77 in that case. It's just how the track's designed, man. You just got to get over it.
And for what it's worth, you mentioned Seth Berger. Seth Berger looks like he has escaped in one piece. The other 6 drivers in this wreck, not so much. Brad Bothwell nearly had it made, and then he got absolutely walloped there by Adam Gardner there at the end of it as well. And man, you can see how violent that transition is from the 36-degree banking to the flat.
Yeah, that's what definitely led to that transition, is what led to Setzer getting the way he did. You got to be so careful on the entries. When you're up front, you can be a little bit better with it. When you're in the draft, though, entering so fast and it's just the draft pulling you around these turns, it's much more difficult to nail it right. I've found myself actually getting off of the gas here in the draft in the Gen 6 car. So I assume it's similar here in the NextGen car, where you're just barely, you feather the gas just for a second on entry, just so you avoid that driving down.
And well, the action has started off early here at the iRacing Super Speedway. We're going to step aside real quick. We're going to get our first break of the night in here. Don't you go anywhere. More racing action of the Outlaws Sim Series 16th round here from the iRacing Super Speedway coming up on the far side of this break.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Welcome back, race fans, to the virtual iRacing Super Speedway here in, well, virtual Concord. I'm actually Massachusetts. I'm not really sure where the sim has the iRacing Super Speedway based, as it's a fictional track. I think you should forgive it there. But at that, it has already reared its ugly head early tonight here at the iRacing Super Speedway. 2 victims already confirmed out of the race. Wholly available is Brad Boffel, also sitting in the pit lane. Adam Gardner, Matthew Setzer, and Adrian Schumacher. 15 cars still running, 14 on the lead lap. And it's time to back to battle. Here's the iRacing.com. Safety vehicle finds its safety in the pit lane. And green flag is out once again from the iRacing Super Speedway. Once again, the lines have distinctified themselves, and Jacob Reeves leading the inside line, Mike Petrin, Jeremiah Stutzman on that inside lane. The outside lane starting to become headed by Max Service and Reese Schaefer. Their help has since tapered off. Seth Berger trying to join them on that outside lane, but it is 6 strong on the inside. And now we have a car jumping out of line. That is the 95 of Devin Smith, looking to take the lead on that outside lane. And here he goes with a huge run down the front straightaway.
Yeah, that's going to be, forced by numbers. You need the numbers in whatever lane you're trying to run in right now. It looks like the outside lane, most of them bailed. So there's 5 cars up on the outside.
Oh, baby.
Down the inside as we see the 95 get loose. The 44 gets shuffled out of line, 3 wide as they go down the backstretch. Now it's 4 wide with a car on the apron.
Yeah, it looks like Jeremiah Stutzman just did not want any part of that. I think he thought it was getting a little crazy, but that battle for the lead starting to heat up a little bit. You know, we got the side draft working right there, and Devin and Max Service on the outside with Reese Schaefer and Seth Berger. You know, got those Swift Racing boys up there on the front, trying to get their way to the front as fast as possible here. But only a 4-car pack, and look at this, they're overpowering the whole rest of the field.
Well, what you're able to do is on that outside lane, you're able to get lined up and full throttle quicker, and they have absolutely gapped the inside lane. James Gilliard trying to tag along. But right now it is a 4-car powerhouse at the top side of the racetrack. Devin Smith wants to drop down, but nobody else is clear. And is Devin Smith going to try to play the Pied Piper role and try to play both lines? Out of turn 2, he's going to stay loyal to that outside lane for the time being.
Yeah, staying with the guys that got him up there for the moment. It seems like they really have the momentum on their side. They really had a great run off of 4. We'll see if they can do it again, but that inside lane is fighting back as we get into turn 3.
Yeah, just about even going into turns 3 and 4, you know. It looks like it's going to stay this way for the majority of the race, possibly, unless the 95 gets a side draft like he did there, but I'm going to see if Max Service could give the 95 a shove going down the front straightaway here. As that bottom's starting to form up a little bit more tidier than the outside lane, but right now I think it was Devin Smith at the line just now that had the lead as Matt Rogers takes the fastest lap of the race.
And that's something we're going to see here at these super speedways is the driver at the back of the lead pack taking the fastest lap, and that is what Matt Rogers has done so far. That inside lane has really got lined up here, and even the outside lane gained another driver in James Gilliard. That inside lane is just severely more formed up with 6 and more cars, 7, 8, 9 cars on that inside lane, just overpowering the 5 on the outside.
Yeah, and it looks like Max Service is kind of running hot, so he ducks out of line, trying to get himself some air before his car will overheat. He dives back in behind the 77 in front of the 33. Another car jumps out to the outside, but it doesn't look like that outside lane wants to get involved. They duck under him 3 wide as they come down the front stretch, and the 84 to the outside for the lead.
Yeah, I think Petro was running hot right there. He was giving the 22 a shove when that outside was working. He was shoving him about 3/4 of the track, so he definitely probably bailed out to get the air under the nose. But to the lead, Swift Racing 1, 2, 3 right now with Devin Smith getting pushed by Reese Schaefer and Seth Berger. Derek McMurtry's that last chance.
3 wide
racing as we're going 3 wide for the lead.
And things are going to get really dicey up here. Max Service comes to the rescue of his teammate Seth Berger. They've got Gilliard in tow, and they now merge up with Reeves and McMurtry. Seth Berger doesn't want any part of that. Devin Smith wants a little bit of a higher entry into the corner. And McMurtry down to the bottom side. Reeves to the high side and then back down, trying to control both lines. And that's not a half-bad strategy when you talk about a super speedway race like so.
Yeah, it looks like there was a switch trying to go on with the 84 and the 22, and the 84 was not able to get clear of the 22 with that outside lane getting the run that they did. Inside lane looks very disorganized now. A lot better organization with the top 4 on the outside lane. They're lined up again like they were, all 5 of them actually, as Gilliard has joined back in. And they are going for it again as the inside lane trying to get organized off of turn 2. A little bobble there from Devin Smith, however. That might hurt this outside lane down the backstretch.
Yeah, Jacob Breeze gets tucked up underneath the 84, trying to make sure this top does not get past him. But I was looking back further out in the field, and Matt Rogers had a moment coming out of turn 3. He about had the same moment as Matthew Setzer and Seth Berger had, hitting that little piece of the apron on that entry of 3 and 4. So we're seeing it again. It's starting to happen again. These drivers are missing it and just getting hucked up there. As now Jacob Breeze looked to make it 3 wide, but he's going to settle back in by his teammate. But that top side is already formed up. To the lead, Swift Racing with Devin Smith.
Yeah, I think that inside lane started to get a little disorganized, and now the top 5 on the outside have cleared down in front. It's now Swift Racing plus Gilliard in the top 5. Devin Smith, Reese Schaefer. Oh, we got a car going around. Derek McMurtry hard into the outside wall.
And Reeves along with him. Reeves looks like it's the exact same thing. The exact same thing as what happened with Setzer. They get pulled down to the apron.
Caution is out.
That yellow flag, or clip that yellow line. And yeah, just with how close these cars are, no chance to save it. He gets tagged from Reeves, and then they both end up head first in the wall.
And this is the first time that these guys really were not the leaders of their line. Into the corner, McMurtry's car just took off on him, and oh my goodness. McMurtry went for a wild ride.
Yeah, tough hit right there for the 22. You know, our pole sitter definitely looked like he had a dominant car, but ain't gonna be so dominant anymore.
And this is going to be quite the incident to view here. We're going to go ahead and slow this one down as well. as they approach the corner. McMurtry's car trying to catch up to Gilliard. All the air leaves that car, slams his left front into the inside apron, is then clipped by Jacob Reeves. Hard, heavy contact to the outside wall, and SpongeBob goes for a wild ride.
Yeah, up into the top layer of that catch fence. That very reminiscent to an Austin Dillon wreck at Talladega not too long ago. And you can get a good view of the new tire model, or the new damage model. That left or right front tire is no longer attached the way it should be. It's dancing around quite a bit, and you can see the body work working as well. So, hey, we get a cool view of the new damage model at the expense of Derek McMurtry. Unfortunate for him, but fortunate for us, and you also get a look at the underbody there.
Yeah, and SpongeBob just not along for the ride that he was hoping for. You know, that smile ain't going to be smiling no more, I don't think. But it's going to be interesting to see what we got going on here. I feel like we're going to see a couple of takers on pit road here eventually, because it looks like, as much as I want to say, it looks like tires might be coming into a strategy here for a little bit for the Super Speedway race, which is surprising. But I don't know. We'll see what happens here.
You know what, Ed? You are not wrong. The pit lane is a busy place, and we're going to be able to watch the race off pit lane right here as everybody files their way into the pit boxes. And Stage 1 is nearing its conclusion very soon. Lap 17 is the conclusion of Stage 1. Down and away, it's Seth Fitzpatrick winning the race off pit road over Berger and Schaefer. Service, Petrin. It's like it'll be Gilliard and Smith and Solms. And the rest of the field comes off the pit lane. So intriguing racing thus far here at the iRacing Super Speedway. See if there is somebody out there that we should talk to. Actually, Devin, who would you like to get grab a word from?
Why don't we get a guy from the part-timer there, Reese Schaefer? He can get us a view. He kind of pushed Devin Smith to the lead here. Let's get his take on how the car is handling Reese Schaefer. This is Devin up in the booth. Do you have a copy?
I have a copy.
Hey, man, that car looks dialed in the draft. You were able to push Devin Smith out to the lead and kind of clear that whole outside lane of the inside lane right before that caution. Kind of walk us through how the draft is feeling in this next generation car at iRacing Super Speedway.
Yeah, it's honestly really good. You can hook up to people really good. You just gotta be really careful. The banking on these corners is insane, and the bumps you get out and in are really, really bad. Kind of the key that I'm doing is in the corners I'm going about 3/4 throttle, and then on straightaways full, so that way I don't run people over and stuff. But yeah, I was able to hook up with Devin, and Seth got to my rear, and it was kind of a 3-car train, and I was able to push him way out in front. So
is that we were seeing a lot of guys bottoming out in that yellow line. That's what the first two cautions have been. Is it just because of the draft and how it's pulling the cars in, or what are you seeing in the car? I mean, you're saying that you're lifting a bit. Is that what you do to avoid bottoming it out there on the apron?
yeah, I'd say that's more than the key. I mean, to be honest, I really don't really like the bottom at all, because the track's so slanted on the straightaways that you just naturally slide down. So I've been trying to run it higher. Definitely helps with everything, because you just, when you naturally go down, you don't get to the apron. Avoid just the apron at all costs, because if you hit the apron, your race is basically over. So just keep it outside and just keep going and just see what happens.
All right, driver, I see y'all are lining up with one to go. I will let you get back to it, and good luck for the end of this first stage.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
And that was driver of the number 17, Reese Schaefer, who will be lined up inside row 2 for this restart. And oh boys, we have Seth Fitzpatrick and Seth Berger on the front row with 3 laps to go in stage number 1. It's going to be quite the intriguing battle, especially as Fitzpatrick, his teammates, well, he's currently kind of boxed off from his team. His closest is Mike Petrin, a car behind Schaefer. I know Schaefer's going to be working to get quickly to the outside lane, but until then, Fitzpatrick may be screwed here. It's going to be a wild 3 laps, to say the least. And again, there will be no change in session state for the stage. The completion of lap 17, regardless of green or yellow, top 10 will get stage points. 3 laps to settle it. Racing once again from the iRacing Super Speedway. Seth Berger, Max Service, the outside lane, starting to do battle on a very aggressive but knowledgeable driver at the Super Speedway, James Gilliard, the third car on that outside lane, and is now 6 strong up there on that outside. And Seth Berger has the advantage with 2 laps to go in stage 1.
And I think a lot of these drivers saw what these Swift Racing drivers did on that last run and how they were able to use that outside lane to their advantage. And they're trying to try it out for themselves, test it out here at the end of stage 1, see if they can get the run. However, since the Swift Racing guys dived to the bottom, that outside lane is stalled out.
Yeah, we got a lot of contenders up here for points, Devin. You know, we were talking about how the points battle is getting close, because we see an aggressive side draft from the 95 on the 41 right there. He's just trying to get back up to the front where his teammates, he had a trouble on the pit road stop, but we got 3 wide in the back. I believe that's Jonathan Jennings with Matt Rogers and Doug Solms. Matt Rogers is trying to recover for himself after about spinning out and wrecking earlier, but due to that caution, he's back up here to the front. We got a lot of takers coming for the stage.
And that's right, 1 lap to go. 3 miles to settle it here at stage number 1. Still a lot of racing here in the first stage. And it is Seth Berger and Seth Fitzpatrick, the 2 drivers who restarted on the front row on the most recent restart. They're 1 and 2. Fitzpatrick enters a little high into the corner, and Schaefer there to see what he's going to be able to do there in third. I know Schaefer's not running full time, so we'll see how he fares in this stage run.
Yeah, I assume he's going to be there to help out his Swift Racing teammates. As Max Service getting a big push behind him, Reese Schaefer looks to the outside of Seth Fitzpatrick. Max Service going to go with him. They're going to see what they can do here off the turn, trying to dive it down and possibly get the run off the turn. Maybe they can make a push to get to second place, but it looks like Seth Berger is going to be out front for the stage win as they come to the end of stage 1.
And Seth Berger leading off like he did in Talladega, leading the front of the pack and taking the stage win. See if he can possibly sweep the stages and possibly do another Super Speedway win, getting it done at iRacing Super Speedway. But the outside lane starting to form up with the 81 and the 95, 2 teammates. But looking back there a little bit, I see those last chance boys trying to get formed up a little bit. You got the 41, got the 69. You got a couple of those guys looking to get through. You got the 71, the 91. They're all lined up, maybe waiting to make a move possibly.
And now one of you in the session, I want you to look and see where Max Service ended up in that stage, because that's going to be something we're going to have to watch all night. Remember, coming into today's race, the points gap was only 13 points in Service's favor. Right there, Berger picked up quite a few points. Should be maybe 9 points, I believe, in Berger's favor now. So it's going to be intriguing to see who holds the point lead at the end of today's show.
Yeah, according to what I saw just now, I have Max Service as 4th in that stage. Go ahead, Deb, sorry.
I know you're good, Ed. That is exactly right. It looks like Seth Berger gets the win of stage 1, and Max Service is going to be 4th.
Peter going around!
Another big wreck.
Several cars involved. 96 of Matt Rogers. Looks like that's the 69 of John Mickey up and over, and another barrel roll. Devin Smith up along the outside wall. Many, many cars involved.
And a similar issue. It looks like the 41 overdriving the entry got loose and couldn't save it.
And right there, that's what Ed was talking about a little earlier. The bumps here at the iRacing Super Speedway, they are treacherous, and it's not really a thing at turns 3 and 4. It's magnified here in turns 1 and 2, though. I mean, let's just see what happened to Mike Petrin. Might be a little close here. Let's see if we can see something here. You see him, he just enters a little high, goes around, and collects his teammate a huge hit for the 96, and so many cars involved. And we don't have that many cars to begin with.
And it almost looked like he lost grip on the entry there, you know. The big thing is, too, you know how hard it is to see when you're behind, tucked up behind somebody, too? So it's hard to see when these corners come up. I mean, as a driver, you're supposed to know when they're supposed to come up, but as you see, the 41 gets a ton of run right here on the 17, but he still needs a little bit of a gap, but he just enters a little bit higher, and I'm wondering, possibly, Devin, I think Dirty Air might have had a little bit of impact in this.
Yeah, it definitely could have, Ed. With them entering the turn there and him trying to diamond off that entry, possibly trying to get a run himself, it definitely could have been something to do with Dirty Air and the draft that was happening, and it just pulled that rear end of the car around. Someone lucky to escape is the 33. Just a little bit of contact on the door there, it looks like, but for the most part, he escapes kind of fancy-free, and it looks like all the Swift Racing guys made it through that. They were up in front of it. Oh, big flip there for Mickey.
And that's very reminiscent to kind of what happened to Kyle Busch in 2015. Just a slow rollover several seconds after the wreck ended. That not because anybody hit him. That's just because it's such a large shift in the banking between the racetrack, the racing surface, and the apron.
Yeah, it is. And with this caution, we see cars come back down pit road again. I'm not sure if they're just topping off fuel this time. Let's see how quick the pit stops are. But if they're getting tires, I wouldn't think tires would be that was it that significant again?
Looks like fuel only for a bunch of people.
Yeah, fuel only for the top 3.
Oh, a lot of people missed their pit stops too. A lot of people are screwing up on pit road today. We haven't seen a lot of this recently, but it's really tough on this pit road. It's slick.
Certainly. And for those, again, when you're on the session, if y'all hit the info tab, how many sets of tires do these guys have? I'm sure they can't be all willy-nilly with tire sets, so.
I have it as 6. I believe.
That's a lot of sets for an 85-lap race, so I guess they
yeah. Well, you gotta think too, with these hot temps, it's slick, so
You're right.
you know, we saw a couple of incidents there that involved possibly a little bit of, you know, worn out tires, and you know, we're going at such high speeds, and the bankings in these corners, they're just really rough. So you gotta put a lot of steering into it to get it to turn. So it's rough behind somebody too. So it definitely makes a lot of sense in all the world that these guys need as much tires as they do.
Well, Ed, I think I'm going to go ahead and send you the way of our Stage 1 winner, Seth Berger, who did just come in for a fuel-only stop right there, Ed. He's yours.
Mr. Berger, it's the boys in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir. You got me.
Oh, I got you loud and clear, my friend. So, how about that, Mr. Stage winner? Leaving off like he did last couple weeks ago at Talladega and getting the stage win. You think he can repeat like he did then?
Hell yeah, man. That's the plan. This race is pretty hectic. It's insane, but we'll work with the teammates, and we're pretty determined to win this race.
Yeah, we noticed a lot of pit stops going on recently. A lot of people taking tires. You guys recently just took fuel only, as we saw. It looks like a little bit of grip issues out there, possibly. Is it the track temps, or maybe how these cars are handling, playing a little bit of factor to why you guys are taking a lot of tires? You know, we know you guys have a lot of sets of tires. So we're curious if possibly the track is just a little bit as difficult as we've seen it.
I think it could be tires a little bit, maybe the track temp, but I honestly think it's more the new update with this car. I think the car is bottoming out a lot more. I could hear it in the turns a lot more. And taking the freshies might help like a slight bit, but I don't think it's an absolute game changer.
Well, Seth, hope we see you soon, man. You know, you got Burger Nation out there rooting you on with the Burger Arts car. Go get yourself another stage win. We'll possibly be talking to you later, possibly as a back-to-back Super Speedway winner. Go get him, man.
Man, I'll talk to you later.
Well, there you go. Calling a shot. I'll talk to you later. Whatever that means, I guess, on the broadcast or after the broadcast. I guess he will talk to us later. But nonetheless, I like it. I'm going to interpret that as him being aggressive. Now, there's one driver who did not pit on this caution. That is the 2 of Seth Fitzpatrick, and he is a lonely man out there. There's the drivers who did not pit. So it'll be intriguing to see how the strategy fares. But there's only 10 cars on the lead lap, and the iRacing.com safety vehicle will find its safety down in the pit lane. Puts the field in the hands of the 2 of Seth Fitzpatrick, and we are racing once again from iRacing Super Speedway. Seth Berger aggressively trying to work to the inside of Schaefer. Maybe they're both just trying to get down to the bottom side. But it's Reese Schaefer to the point over Seth Berger.
Yeah, big push from Seth Berger. Gets Reese Schaefer to the point. And they have a nice little gap opened up to the 2 car. You got to be careful there. Don't want to leave too much of a gap. You leave yourself open to a big run from the outside or inside. A big push coming on the outside from the 95 to the 33.
Gilliard.
77 jumps out 3 wide.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that was a bit of a strategy call there. You know, we got teammates lined up now neck to neck with the 77 and I believe that was the 95. Yeah, they're both teammates. So I wonder if that was a little bit of strategy call to possibly get the 33 out of line.
I was going to say, Gilliard jumped up high and nobody went with him, but then you realize the cars behind him were all the Swift cars. And so Swift has poor old Seth Fitzpatrick surrounded. And, I mean, what are you going to do in the 2-car scenario where you are boxed in by Swift Racing?
At this point in the race, you just got to ride. Don't want to get yourself in trouble. You've seen a lot of guys get in trouble in this draft. You got to be careful, be smart with the car. Those guys in front of you are pushing really hard. It looks like some side drafting going on from the 95. Reshape able to clear them, though. But now Fitzpatrick has some open in front of him, and he takes advantage of it, gets a nice run down the front straightaway. Not going to get there just yet, but he is leading that inside lane. Max Service right behind him, but the outside lane is pushing hard as they come in and off of turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised to see the 77 and 17 move up a little bit. You know, the bottom lane's preferably where you want to be around this track, but I guess they felt a little bit more comfortable at the top as they got more teammates, but now they got to try to figure out how they can get their other teammate in the 81 up there as he's going to give a shove to the 2 who's leading the bottom lane down the back straightaway going into turns 3 and 4, but the 77 with a little bit of a run as he's trying to side draft to get to the 2, but like I said, the 2 just has the better momentum on that bottom. You can carry a lot more speed and you're hitting the corners. You see how much of a gap he pulls now in the 77 coming out of the exit of 4, coming down the front straightaway.
And you remember what Reese Schaefer said in his interview just a few laps ago. There's just more driver comfort on that outside lane. And Schaefer, I know he's had a couple close moments with Devin Smith pushing down that outside lane, but other than that, he has been a very solid push on the outside lane. With that being said, Seth Fitzpatrick, albeit help from another Swift Racing car, Max Service, takes to the point, and they are long clear of that outside lane.
Yeah, the inside lane formed up pretty nicely. They've got 6 cars. The outside lane has 5, though. They're making a push back down the backstretch, finally getting lined up, getting the momentum up in these cars. And the 77's back equal with his teammate in the 81 as they head into turns 3 and 4. We'll have to see what they do when they get off as Reese Schaefer backed off a bit, trying to cool down the engine on that 17. He's going to go back at it again, though, and try and push the 77 back to the point.
And you got to look a little bit on this bottom lane. You got a little bit of twisted axle mixed within the Last Chance boys, but then up top you got majority of the Swift Racing boys. You know, it's going to be interesting to see a little bit of a team battle here, possibly.
Matthew Setzer
got hits the wall. No caution. He just looks like he just hit the wall. But remember, this new damage model, that kind of a hit might not end your race. But I think at this point you might have to hope for a caution. But you see a battle for the lead now. The 17, the 77 looks to the front. But now Max Service is giving a shove to the 2, going down the back straightaway, leading into 2. Going down to the turn 3, the 2 will be the leader.
It's Patrick with the advantage on the inside lane. And again, stage 2 will be awarded at the completion of lap 39. So plenty of time still for these boys to sort things out. Maybe the experimentation is running high in this field of drivers. And for what it's worth, you are right, Ed. You mentioned Twisted Axle up there. Twisted Axle, well, tonight is only it's only Doug Solms. So that's intriguing. Doug Solms is out there fighting as his lone wolf self, and Doug Solms, he's one of the more likable guys in the series. I think a lot of drivers would work with him, even if he's not a part of said organization. And Solms right now finds himself in a nice little spot there inside lane in that 3rd position.
Yeah, Doug Solms quietly having a very good race. We haven't mentioned him a lot, but he has put together a solid race, stayed out of all the incidents, even though he kind of started where all these incidents were occurring. Somehow made his way through all of them and has come out here in 3rd place. But Swift Racing not going away in the outside lane. Reese Schaefer losing a little bit off of turn 4 as we ride along with Doug Solms. You can see how much the draft works there. Pulls him right up to the bumper of the 81. He actually had to cut the throttle there just to stay off of the 81's bumper. But, man, this draft is so effective. They're running almost 10 mile an hour faster than they were in qualifying inside of the draft, and it's amazing to watch.
Yeah, I guess Matthew Setzer had a little bit more of excessive repairs that he could not be able to manage, and has parked it in the garage for the 9th, so that leaves Last Chance with, I think, a little bit more momentum drivers out here wise than the Swift Racing guys. So now I think we're going to start to see a little bit more of a single file. As I say that, we'll see the 77 pull down, and now they're going to just single file out. But I'm wondering if this might be a possible plan, maybe to mark up something. Maybe they might want to try to get back up to the front, or I don't know. We'll see what happens here.
Well, there's plenty of laps still to go here at the iRacing Super Speedway, and looks like, yeah, we are single file for the most part. Nobody really gathering up to make many moves. There is only 14 cars still running. I guess Jonathan Jennings is returning to the track. So 14 cars still running out there right now. But nonetheless, no aggressive moves being made. Oh, Berger very sideways there off of turn 2.
Yeah, I ever say that. I don't mean to interrupt, but we kind of just got a shout out over the driver comms just now a little bit. We got told by Seth Berger and Max Service that we need to watch the 77 in a moment. So I don't know what's happening, but it might get interesting here in a second. That's the first time I think we've ever gotten shouted out in the race communications while they're racing here, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens here.
Watch the 77 in a moment. Well, they're jumping up to the outside lane. Let's see what happens off the nose of Reese Schaefer.
Yeah, calling their shots a little bit of a Babe Ruth thing back from the points, and a huge run. Watch the 77 indeed. Look at them fly by 200 miles an hour. Reese Schaefer pushing the 77.
Oh, Schaefer's going around! Solms and Smith involved in a multi-car accident.
And
the caution will
Doug
come
Solms, unlucky that time. Made it through all of the other cautions, but couldn't make it through that one, as that was a humongous push from Reese Schaefer. But in the end, it actually costed him his car. Doesn't look like it's too bad, but I assume a lot of the speed has been knocked out of it.
Well, they called their shot, and it was a gutsy move nonetheless. But into the corner, Schaefer had no air to that nose, and that car, oh, Berger's car took off on him, and Devin Smith's car took off on him. All three Swift Racing cars got, I don't know if they were able to handle that much speed into the corner.
Yeah, I'm not really sure here, but from looking at it, Devin, the 17 and 95 don't look like they have extensive damage. So again, that's a testament to the new damage model, but I think the one person that has extended, I think the 67 went nose first into the wall here.
Yeah, man, it looks like it's just, these cars are just not happy with the giant speeds that we're experiencing in the banking change from the straightaways to the turns. They're just having all kinds of trouble. And something that reminds me of this is running the 87 cars back in the day, how they really had to wheel that 87 car around Talladega with no restrictor plate. You know, you had to kind of feather it getting in, and then you could pick it back up slowly through the turn to avoid spinning it out. That is looks like it's very similar to what's going on here.
Another slow motion incident, slow motion replay of this incident. Doug Solm's big heavy hit to the outside wall. He was already several laps down. I mean, over upwards of 30 laps down. He was just running to have fun, and he is now effectively out of the race. My apologies. Actually, that's not correct. But nonetheless, he is now out of the race.
Yeah, he was running in the third and the bottom lane
That's right.
at the time. So yeah, he his race is done. He avoided the first two wrecks, but the third one caught him out there. So unfortunate for Doug Solms. Looking to have a great day, and we see everybody on pit road again.
And I'm curious if this is for tires or fuel only, but if I'm them, I'm taking tires here. I did not like how that looked there, how long of a run possibly the Swift guys were out for gas only, but the 91 of Jonathan Jennings stays out. So I wonder if possibly if this is a little bit of strategy to possibly try to get the stage win. If I remember right, what is stage 2? 30 laps? Oh no, Jonathan Jennings is a lap down. I'm sorry, excuse me.
Down. But it is the race off pit road. Schumacher wins the race, but he's actually going to be 8 laps down. He's going to be scored in between the pace car and the leader. Intriguing enough. So Schumacher finagles his way to get a lap back here, even with pit service.
Yeah, I think he only took fuel only, and some other guys took tires. So looks like him and Jennings and Schumacher are trying to take the wave around, get a couple of laps back here, and try and get themselves back on the lead lap any way they can. They have some laps to make up.
I have an update to the thought of tires here. Seth says that, quote, this thing is crazy on slightly worn tires. And believe us, Seth, we noticed. But what we also are going to do, we're going to take a step aside. Don't you go anywhere. Coverage of the 16th round of 36 here at the Outlaws Sim Series from the iRacing Super Speedway continues after this.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Welcome, race fans, back to the virtual iRacing Super Speedway. The iRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety in a pit lane, and we are racing once again from iRacing Super Speedway. 4 laps to go in stage number 2. It's Seth Fitzpatrick and Seth Berger. Feel like it's been the Seth and Seth show quite a few times this season, quite a few times tonight. Once again, it is Fitzpatrick and Berger. This time, Berger doesn't have many teammates around him.
No, he doesn't at all. And in fact, he's got a couple of team members behind him that are trying to line themselves up if they can to make a run at this themselves. Berger's got to pick the right moment here. Gilliard behind him is hungry. Gilliard wants a win, and he is in prime position to get that and at least get some really good points here at the end of the stage. And you got to time it just right to get up there. As we see Swift Racing jumping back out to the outside, trying to make something work to get back to the front. They kind of got shuffled out of line at the start there, but trying to work their way back up as we see the 17 without the or even with the damage, still has plenty to give in that Mustang there.
And seeing who's behind Seth Berger, you know, that 33, we know him, Emerson. He's aggressive. He's a very aggressive driver, and he will get to the front at any means necessary. But the only thing I don't like for this in his situation, he has nobody really that is going to help him unless possibly he has Matt Rogers or Daniel Molnix behind him that help him to get around the 77 or the 2, but he has no teammate help, so I don't know how he's planning to get around this or if he's just going to try it solo, but it's going to be interesting to see what he tries to do here.
And that's what we're thinking about, you know. Remember, Berger and Gilliard have had their run-ins, but they are lone wolves up here in the top 5. Will they work? Will they set it? Will they push their differences to the side? And will they work with one another in order to benefit one another? We'll have to see, but 2 laps to go here in stage number 2. We're gonna find out.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at this field here. It looks like 5-car breakaway up in the front, maybe 7 cars as those 2 behind them catch back up. That's Gardner and Schumacher laps down. But it looks like this field really starting to get spread out as we've got 2 distinct packs. There looks to be 7 cars in the front pack and then 4 back here in the second pack. These Swift Racing guys got shuffled out, and they got shuffled out as they're way behind this first pack now.
Yeah, and Devin, you know what I realized from this picture, if we saw that? Look who's the only person that's in the top 3 in points right now that's in the top 5 right now. Seth Berger. If Seth Berger plays this out right and possibly wins this stage, and Max is back there with Jonathan Jennings, both the people he's fighting for the points lead, this could be a really big factor into possibly we might have a new points leader after today.
Good eye, Ed, and with Seth winning stage 1, Max finishing 4th in stage 2, that 13-point advantage in Service's favor was down to 9. At the moment, it looks like it is a 5-point advantage should nothing change, but I know Seth is going to be anxious to find a way around the 2 of Fitzpatrick down the back straightaway. Does he jump out with Gilliard? Final lap of stage number 2 underway. It's a 7-car breakaway, and 5 of them on the lead lap. 2 lap vehicles, and Adam Gardner and Adrian Schumacher. And into turns 3 and 4.
Yep, this is where you got to make the move here. Seth looks to the outside, not going to go there yet, trying to get the run off of the turn. Let's see if he goes for it here, staying in line for the moment. Pulls out of line late, tries to get the side draft. Nobody goes with him.
He'll still hold on to second, but it will be Berger getting second there in the stage behind Seth Fitzpatrick, winning himself another stage. Max Service finishes 6th. Gilliard, Rogers, Molnix, they get 3rd, 4th, and 5th, respectively. Schaefer, 7th. Stutzman, Petrin, Gardner, the top 10 there for the stage. And that should make it a 5-point advantage in Service's favor. So, intriguing math now. As Berger got shuffled to the back, if things were to stay like this the rest of the race, Max is only going to have a 4-point advantage leaving today.
Yeah, he could, and it could be very interesting going into the next race. What we're going to see as we go to New Hampshire, where we get back to kind of a meat and potato track of the NASCAR schedule, but definitely a tricky track in itself to get right. As New Hampshire, that turn 2 can be very tricky, and we see Seth Berger kind of running an interesting line, running a little higher off of the going into the turns, and then he kind of dives it down behind Schumacher here, and then lets it roll off high again down the straightaway. I'm not sure what he's doing there, but he's staying with the lead pack, so that's all he needs to do. But huge run. I think he's just trying to take the runs and not really use the brakes too much, thinking that if he keeps the runs up, he can stay in this lead draft.
Yeah, I think he's playing a little bit more of a I just want to be there at the end kind of strategy now. I think seeing how chaotic the whole beginning of this race has been so far, I think these drivers are starting to realize they need to just try to play it safe and just try to make it to the end. But how about a new top 3 right now? Look who's in 3rd place right now. Matt Rogers in the 96. What kind of story that would be if he wins tonight?
Well, look at it. There he is in the 96 machine, involved in the opening incidents of this race. But a beautiful white-based Boba Bowl Last Chance Racing Toyota Camry there for Matt Rogers. And Matt Rogers, of course, the namesake of Rogers Race Wraps, puts himself in a beautiful livery for tonight. And why not? The iRacing Superspeedway could be the right time for Matt Rogers' first Outlaws Sim Series victory. He's in position to do so. Their third car in line, third car positioned.
Yep, third car in line. Particularly, that's where I like to be, is the third car in line. You can really set up moves, and especially when it comes down to the end of the race. When you're just kind of riding, it's a nice place to be as well. You're not worried about pushing the guy in front of you. All you're worried about is keeping tucked up in with the second place car, not really bumping him, but just staying there and tucking yourself in. As Gilliard, huge push to the 2 car up in front. You can see it gets both of them very loose. And Rogers kind of had to back out of it just a bit.
Sideways!
Down to the apron.
Good save.
You saw everybody bottoming out there. Fitzpatrick, Gilliard, and Rogers. All 3 of them were bottoming out there. And unfortunately, Rogers was just caught out. And after we were just talking so highly of Matt Rogers, he now finds himself in that 5th position. Which, of course, is still a great run. But from being sat in 3rd, well, he's going to lose his lead draft.
Yeah, he's going to fall back. He's going to fall back to that second pack, Ed. I feel like he's pretty much gone, and now it's a 6-car breakaway up the front. I think it was the air, if I'm looking at it right, with how those 2 cars in front of him were dancing around, Ed. He very well could have upset the balance of the car and the air flowing around the car coming off that turn.
Yeah, well, just in a little bit of short time, he's going to have some help. You know, they got that other pack of Max Service, Reese Schaefer, Jeremiah Stutzman, Jonathan Jennings slowly pitching in on them. But on that, I think what we really didn't really talk about much in the pre-race, and I'm honestly surprised that we're seeing this today. A lot of handling issues, to say the least. I don't know if it has to do with possibly the car just not having a handle on this track, or if it's something to do with the temperatures or the way the tires are just decoding. I don't know. It's just something I never really expected out of a super speedway race.
Well, I'll tell you this much. It's always been a handling issue at this racetrack, especially in turns 1 and 2. There was a time where you couldn't run the Xfinity cars here in a fixed race because on the second lap of the race, entering turn 1, everybody would spit out. This track has always had handling issues because it's just such a freak of nature. You talk about speeds, Xfinity cars at that, with the car in question, they're going, 210, 212. They're not built to go that fast. And they just absolutely crumble under the pressure entering turn 1. And turn 1 has a little bit of a dip down into the corner as well. I've always noticed handling issues here, and I anticipated them. Even though we're going about 40 miles an hour slower at this track, in these cars, the bottoms of these cars are flat. What I've noticed, especially like this week, how the A officials are at Sonoma, that flat curbing out of turn 4, these cars are so flat and so low to the ground. You put any little bit of throttle application there out of turn 4, you're going to spin around. And I think it's a very similar scenario to what we're seeing here, where you drop down right here. You watch these cars drop down to the corner. That's a huge weight transfer for a car that has a flat underside, a rear diffuser, and is slammed to the ground.
Yeah, you're very right. It could be the culprit of what's happening with these cars. As we see, there's a 3-car breakaway now, looks like, at the front of this field as Seth Adrian Schumacher is really falling off the pace behind the next two cars, and Seth Berger trying to push Adam Gardner another lap down car back up to these top three to stay with that draft. It looks like they're going to. But Adrian Schumacher is the unlucky one. He falls off the draft. He's going to fall back to that second pack. Yeah, I wonder if that's a strategy call, trying to get these Swift Racing guys back to the front, as they are falling off a great deal.
Yeah, and that other pack that we mentioned with Max Service and them, they're 8 seconds behind. Just about. So it's going to take a lot for them to get back up to the front. Possibly a caution or possibly something like this, as the 33 goes up the track now, and the 44 is going to try to take the second. But if these guys keep battling side by side, this is going to bring them right back into the picture, but they need a lot more of this. You know, this time is not really swindled down or anything like that. You know, as fast as Max Service has been all race, the 17's got a little bit of partial damage. We haven't really. Oh, geez, there's a moment he's spinning.
And that's a huge hit coming down on the apron. He's still trying to save
what a
it.
Save.
Yeah, big time save, but man, that effectively is going to really hurt the 33. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get up the speed to stay with the second group. No, he's way off the pace.
He's way off the pace. Not even close. Still blow right on by. But what that has done is that continues to drop the number of cars in that lead pack. And I think Schaefer is starting to get that memo. He's starting to really get up on the rear end of the 81. It may not be over for these boys.
And the 82 now gets in line too, and he was just up there in the front too. So the more cars are dropping back to get back into this line, which is dwindling this lead pack. But right now the top three, Seth Fitzpatrick, Daniel Molinick, Seth Berger, three people, well, two of them at least, that have wins. One of them who's a newcomer to this series, desperately looking for a good run and possibly a win. So it could be a lot of interesting stuff that's going to happen here. We're just about a little past halfway. So.
Yes.
It's getting interesting here.
Just past the halfway mark here at the iRacing Super Speedway. It is Seth Fitzpatrick, your race leader, looking for his third win on the season. You know what? It was Fitzpatrick who won at Texas. My apologies, not Seth. Seth won at IRP. So I got those backwards in the previous show. Forgive me as they have the same. Oh no!
82 and the 96 together off of turn 2.
There's Adrian Schumacher. There is no caution on the speedway yet. But we'll go ahead and take a replay and see what happened in this incident. Oh, no. So here we go. Schumacher and Rogers. Schumacher pushing Rogers as Rogers is losing a little bit of touch to that lead pack. And I think the added speed into the corner is going to catch Rogers out here. That's exactly what happened.
Caution on the speedway for that. They just called it just now.
Caution is going to come out, and that's going to give us another reset.
That's big for the 33, too. Somebody that just lost the pack. And now this whole pack is going to be back up together, so it's not going to be a separate anymore, Devin.
No, it's not a very big green flag run. We really saw some different strategies taking place. Some guys content with riding. Some guys wanted to force the issue, and it looks like the ones who were forcing it were the ones that got left out. I'm interested in that line that Seth Berger was running. He was entering high, diving low to stay with the group through the turn, and then he would go back high off of the turn. And it was really keeping his car out of the draft, allowing him to be pretty even with these guys, following them around for so long. And then as soon as the 33 hop back there, the first turn, he dives it in low like normal, and his car is just so upset in that dirty air, and it went around on him. So I wonder if that was on purpose to avoid a situation like that from the 77.
The caution is out here at the iRacing Super Speedway. We have a long time to get round to pit road. I'm going to go ahead and interview our Stage 2 winner, Seth Fitzpatrick. And Seth, it's been an intriguing race so far. You've led 30 of the 50 completed laps. What's it been like trying to get all the Last Chance Racing to work with one another and seeing the handling issues come about here at the iRacing Super Speedway?
Yeah, we had the numbers at first. We're not doing too good on the numbers no more, but yeah, the handling for me entering it wants to wiggle sometimes, but throughout the corner it's not bad. It's just entering for me.
And that's what we've seen a lot of these guys, especially in the turn one. So what do you do to combat that? Do you ride the brake on entry? Do you lift as you enter turn one, or do you just hope and pray she doesn't snap on you?
Well, I've been doing a little bit of everything. A little bit of hoping and praying, a little bit of lifting. Just trying to figure it out, trying to be able to keep my speed up as much as I could.
I know you're coming down the pit lane, so I'll let you get down here. But real quick, for us, we don't know the fuel window. Is this the last stop of the day, or do we have to expect one more stop for everybody?
I'd be expecting one more if it goes green. Probably a splash and go.
Right on, well, Seth. Best luck to you, driver. Congratulations on the stage of victory. Hopefully, we're talking to you a little later on.
Hope so, man. Y'all have fun up there.
Driver of the number 2, Seth Fitzpatrick, pulls into his pit box, and pit service is underway. 4 tires and fuel for everybody, and you heard it there. Potentially the second to last stop of the day for these drivers. It's Fitzpatrick over Service, Berger, Molnix, and it is Stutzman by position, and Schaefer is out of here, which will leave James Gilliard, the 6th and last car on the lead lap.
That's kind of big for these Swift Racing guys. They had a lot of numbers at the start of the race and have slowly been dwindled away due to these incidents. Starting with the incident on the first lap and culminating here. So Reese Schaefer is out of the race, but Seth Berger and Max Service are still in and are sitting kind of pretty here for the restart. They want to stay up here with the lead for sure, be in this lead pack. You got to be up there if you want to win it. And yeah, if it is a splash to go on this last one, Ed, you're going to have to nail that last pit stop.
Yeah, one person I'm really looking my eye on right now. We haven't really talked about him much of the race, and I want to say that his car looks okay, but I look at the top of it, it looks kind of beat up. But one driver we haven't talked about a lot, Jeremiah Stutzman. I mean, we're on board with him right now. You can see him right there in the picture, right behind Daniel Molinix, but I haven't really talked much about this 71 car. You were used to talking about him possibly playing strategies and
Look at this.
all that, but he might be playing a little bit more of a strategy, basically taking fuel, maybe to make it just to the end here. I know we're going to be getting close to possibly just making it to the end on fuel.
Well, so let's do this thought process. The Outlaws Sim Series uses 100% fuel loads here at in the Outlaws Sim Series races this season. We are at a plate track or at a super speedway. I know it's 3 miles as opposed to 2.5 miles, but let's say Talladega, you can run 37 laps, 38 laps on a tank of fuel. Well, we have 32 laps to go here. It's gonna be really close as you add another half mile to a third mile per lap. Over 32 laps. It's got to be really close.
Yeah, it does have to be very close, but if there's anyone who can try and make that strategy like that work, it is that 71. But again,
he was in that second pack. What if they were saving?
Yeah, possibly saving. And I mean, now it's kind of reset here, but if anyone can make it, I believe that 71 can. And, it depends here with the draft. You really want to keep that speed up with the draft as we see the caution's been extended. But, you really got to keep that speed up with the draft. And if he's able to do that and save that fuel to get to the end, it's going to be huge.
Look at the race summary there. You see 5 cautions or 13 laps, 11 lead changes today. And the weather, Ed, it's been the talk of the town so far. It stayed stagnant. The winds have picked up a little bit, nearly 11 miles an hour out of the west. But here comes Stutzman again.
Yeah, Stutzman's coming down pit road again. Possibly just top off again. I mean, I don't blame him for doing this, to be honest.
Maybe we're getting even closer to that number now that we have extended the yellow.
Yeah, baby. It's just interesting to see him. I mean, he did it before, and now he's doing it again. And I don't know if this just makes him feel a little bit more comfortable about it, or if it's actually a strategy that he's got going on in his head. But I like it. Someone like him needs a win. I don't remember where we had him on the point sheet. I don't have that on me right now, but
Well,
I think he was. I think I want to say he was in the top 10, right? It has
fourth.
No.
Battling Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, so maybe you see how strong Fitzpatrick is. Adding a win sticker to his name, that's also a big confidence booster for him, because we know how struggling of a season he's had. He had a dominant car at Martinsville, got spun out, and got forced to the back. Had a decent car at IRP, got forced to the back. I don't remember how he did at Texas. It was so long ago, and plus we were on vacation, so I really kind of didn't remember a lot. Been Bora Bora, so but yeah, Bora Bora. We have really good funding, so we were able to go to Bora Bora. But yeah, Jeremiah's had that kind of season, so it definitely would be big to have a win sticker next to his name. But Seth Fitzpatrick's just been on a roll with the confidence he's had. Winning at Watkins Glen, his first career win in the Outlaws Sim Series, winning at Texas, and now possibly being able to try to go get a win here at iRacing Super Speedway. I mean, I hate to say it, but he's got to be close to put his name into a championship kind of category right now, possibly at the end of the season.
Certainly. And Jeremiah Stetson, by the way, at this point last season, he had a win. And so he's still winless this season in a car that I think would be more in Stetson's wheelhouse. So we'll see if he can get it done tonight. But anyway, the iRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety in pit lane. 31 laps remaining here at the iRacing Super Speedway, and green flag flies once again. Now 30 laps remain here at the iRacing Super Speedway. It's the Seth and Seth show once again. Seth Fitzpatrick, Seth Berger, lap car Adam Gardner, Mike Petrin, fourth car in line, third in the running order, Max Service, Daniel Molnix, James Gilliard, Jeremiah Stutzman, the lead lap drivers.
Yeah, and Max Service and James Gilliard trying to make that outside lane work. Seth Berger jumps up to the outside, followed by Adam Gardner. And Max Service is going to get back to Adam Gardner here, the pool, and that gets Seth Berger to the point.
And, they're going to shuffle Gardner out. Max is going to try to get cleared down in front of Seth Fitzpatrick. The Swift boys are cleared down. It's Gardner and Gilliard now on the outside lane. Gilliard and Fitzpatrick duking it out for a third. Petrin, Molnix trying to get in on this as Stutzman hangs tough at the back of the pack. Probably saving fuel.
Yeah, how about the move by Max Service? He was just fading out, going to the back just about because he had a lot of help. But that move that Seth Berger and Adam Gardner made helped Max get back up to the front along with James Gilliard. But I think James Gilliard got the worst of that, and now he's going to the back with Adam Gardner. But what a move by Max Service. I think now we're going to start to see these Swift boys get to the front and also try to take control of this race. As the last Swift car, I believe... Actually, no, I think it's the last two remaining.
Those are the last two Swift cars remaining. You now look to the last chance boys that are lined up now. Third, fourth, and fifth.
Yeah, so as far as numbers go, it looks like that last chance racing has the numbers. They are lined up just like Swift Racing. Now it's just a matter of if they can make the move and when do you want to make that move. And Max Service jumps a little bit trying to help Adam Gardner. It looks like get a little bit of draft.
Yeah, if I'm Max Service right now, I don't want to help too much, because if you leave that hole open, and you know this from previous experience, Devin, you leave that hole open, they're going to take it.
Yeah, for sure. You got to take every hole. The minute you don't go for the move, you're no longer a race car driver. That's a good quote there from Ayrton Senna. But yeah, if the hole's there, you got to take it. And we see again how much going through the turns on the inside lane can get you, especially when you're lined up and have numbers. As Gardner falls way back, trying to make his way back to the front again, though.
Some mind games being played here. As you see the Swift boys go up, entering the corner. They take Fitzpatrick with them, and then back down to the bottom side.
Yeah, do they want to... it looks like Fitzpatrick is kind of good for following them at the moment. But how much longer is he going to be good with that? And then when is he going to try and make that move to get under him?
And James Gilliard has been trying to get back up there. He's been shoving Adam Gardner, but they haven't been really able to make much room, as they're just going to fall back in line. And now it's basically not single file down all the way back throughout this field now. So I don't really see much action about to happen. So I think hopefully these guys are going to just try to ride it out, possibly even save some fuel. But I'm looking at that last car in the pack where we saw Pitt a couple times. Jeremiah Stutzman's running around the last car on this pack. Not really tucked in too much behind Jonathan Jennings, so possibly saving a little bit more fuel to possibly make it to the end and make the move when he has to. I definitely want to keep my eye on once we get closer to about 5 to go what the 71 does.
Jeremiah Stutzman sounds like he's very content riding back here, being pulled along and not running too high of an RPM. You can hear, listen to the car right there. Just scraping along the asphalt right there. And that's because Stutzman's planted in the corner. I can't imagine a car that's not planted.
Yeah, glued to the ground, but that bottoming out is also having an inverse effect of getting these cars where they bounce up and then they lose the grip. You shift the weight and it wants to spin on you, but for the moment, he's content just riding right here on the yellow line, taking it easy into the turns, taking it easy off the turns, saving the fuel, thinking that he can make it to the end more than likely. As these guys up front who are racing pretty hard may not be able to, as Adam Gardner is caught up to the leader again. Just 2 cars on that outside lane, making a huge headway.
Yeah, Gilliard's been shoving Adam Gardner to the front. There's been that one person that's been able to push somebody, no matter who it is, to the front pretty consistently and evenly, so I'm not surprised to see him back up here. But I don't know if they're going to make any more headway as now Seth Berger goes up to the top, possibly. I don't know if this is part of the plan, if he's just falling to the back, or I think it might be just falling to the back. Okay, so Max Service now will take the lead.
Intriguing that the Swift Racing boys voluntarily split up. Max Service is left to lead this pack. What he does have going in his favor is that the last chance cars are not cleared of the outside lane just yet. Well, now they are. Gilliard fighting hard. Last chance boys are ready to pounce and could make the move on the single Swift car at any moment.
Yeah, but do you want to at the moment? I think Seth Berger dropped back there so he can do what Stutzman's doing and save fuel, realizing, hey, I'm not going to make it to the end of this thing. I need to get back here and save a lot if I want to make it. So is that what the play is for Seth Berger, why he dropped back there? And then how long will Max be until maybe he wants to take it, move back and save fuel? It doesn't look like Gardner or Gilliard want to save fuel. They want to get to the front.
Yeah, and I'm looking. Max and Seth Fitzpatrick are trying to make it to where Gardner and Gilliard get back up here. They're riding back and forth, top to bottom, trying to make the line just about even, and now I think they're going to have Adam Gardner just about cleared, but I don't think Adam's going to leave Gilliard. Doesn't look like it for now, but they're going to try to get back up there, try to get that line going again. But, again, in the back of this pack, Seth Berger, it doesn't look like he's trying to save fuel. It looks like he's trying to get back up here again, but he might have a little bit of help coming from behind him. But now Adam Gardner tucks to the bottom, leaving Gilliard alone. But he's going to have Seth Fitzpatrick's draft in front of him. But Max Service, I think, now is going to tuck in behind, or in the bottom now, leaving Seth Fitzpatrick with James Gilliard. But I don't know if I want that to happen, to be honest. Seth Fitzpatrick's been one of the dominant cars of the day, and James Gilliard's been one of the better pushers. This might actually turn out against Max Service.
Well, we're going to find out here. Gilliard and Fitzpatrick, that does sound like a very powerful combo. But Service has split up the Last Chance Racing cars for the time being. He's got lapped car Adam Gardner right behind. Adam Gardner, he's always a driver that sets his car up to be comfortable first, fast second. So Gardner's never going to have one of those cars that's going to just snap out from under him. He will make sure his car is ready to go in almost any scenario. And how about Gardner jumping out from behind Max Service? That should be to put him in front of the field. He wants to maybe get one of those laps back. He'll fall back to 7 laps down.
Yeah, trying to get the lap back the hard way on a super speedway, and it didn't last too long. He falls way back. Maybe Max and Fitzpatrick just trying to play some games here, see what they can do with the south lane and how the draft's working. They do it again. They pull up to the top, give a huge run to Gardner and to Gilliard, and they get right back up to these top two.
Yeah, here comes Gilliard. Back up behind the 56 of Adam Gardner. Is he going to try to push Gardner past these two? But now Seth Fitzpatrick leaves Max Service hanging. Max Service jumps up top to get Adam Gardner. Now he's going to come back down. But this is going to help the 56 and the 33. Even though the 56 is lapped down, this might push the 33 to the lead possibly.
Gilliard to the lead. Gardner gets a lap back. Petrin jumping up. He wants to take second. Not clear. He'll have to, bobble up the track for Petrin. He'll fall back.
Yeah, how far back will he fall now? He doesn't really have a good spot to get in. Maybe in front of Seth Berger, but a little bobble there cost him quite a bit of spots, and also split up the Last Chance Racing drivers again. And now Max has somebody to draft off of. As we see Seth Berger jump back out to the outside, and he is trying to make his way.
Max really slammed that apron that time.
And he's done something that we haven't seen guys do, which is save it.
Yeah, Max looks like he's been struggling. I've been watching him a little bit. He's not been loose, but he looks like he's been tight. Like, you can see him. He doesn't bottom out as much as the other guys have in the center of the corner. He looks like he's just struggling with his handling right now. But now he's going to try to make the move with Seth Fitzpatrick. Maybe trying to see if Seth will come with him to the top or not. Oh, and Mike Peter goes around collecting Seth Berger and Adrian Schumacher in the back.
Yeah, and Petrin loses the car again. He did it before, loses it again, and this time it takes out one of the favorites to win, Seth Berger. And that car of Seth Berger looks absolutely trashed.
Well, let's try to find out what happened to Petrin, the 77 of Seth Berger. Here we go. Petrin just snaps.
Same thing. It was the same thing the last time when he lost it like that.
And that's the second time Mike Petrin has lost control of his car, just out of nowhere.
Yep, Ed mentioned it, and I'll let him talk about it, but turn 1 and 2, and that bump getting into turn 1, and that same thing, he lost it.
It's just unfortunate there. There's just nowhere for Seth Berger to go. He's been doing this top-to-bottom thing like he did earlier, and Mike Petrin just loses it, goes down, and just collects Seth Berger, who is just a lawless victim.
Gingerly works his way down to the apron. Seth Berger might not be out of it yet. It certainly didn't help any case. What this has done is this puts James Gilliard as your race leader. And what a race it's been to get Gilliard to this point. James Gilliard has yet to win in the Outlaws Sim Series. And a driver who was tied for 9th in the point standings coming into tonight's race. He is sitting pretty for the time being, and we should be seeing final pit stops for the field here in just a few moments.
Yep, this could be final pit stops with less than 20 to go, 19 to go to be exact, 18 to go when they cross the line this time. So we can see the final pit stop here. They will definitely be able to make it on fuel. And that last run was right at 16, 17 laps. So, yeah, we saw the tires start to go away already. And it's amazing what those tires are doing here. I did not expect any tire issues at all. But we probably said the same thing about in real life, and we've seen multiple tire issues here with this new car.
Yeah, it's just something you don't expect. And ooh, James Gilliard slides in his box a little bit. Did he have to back up? Possibly. No, he made it. It looked close. It looked really close.
Race off pit road is won by Molnix, who does not take tires. That's a gutsy call, as we've seen drivers lose control of their vehicles, but it will be service over Gilliard. Service over Fitzpatrick over Gilliard. Stutzman fifth, and then we await Berger and Petrin. Petrin's a lap down, so Berger, how bad is that 77? There's a lot of rear end damage.
Well, we saw Bubba Wallace compete with the front, was it the front right fender, completely gone right around the tire area there, and still get to second place in the Daytona 500. So, it'd be interesting to see what happens here with the race car in the condition is. Looks like the wing has been repaired as we're kind of watching the repair happen before our eyes. But looks like that rear wing is repaired, so should be okay to keep going. These composite bodies and the update iRacing has made has really toughened these cars up. So really good news for these guys who need to have some repairs done at super speedways.
And it doesn't look like it's terrible. I mean, he might be down a little bit of engine power. I'm not entirely sure, but as we see him now coming back out, pace car is just coming out the front straightaway, so that would explain a little bit of it. But I mean, that's just tough. I know Seth has got to be a little bit frustrated, but that's just something that's just not in control of his hands. But how about our new leader? I mean, Daniel Molnix. Again, I'm not going to try to jinx it or anything, but he had a good race at IRP going, got caught up in a wreck, and then he had a couple other good races. He had a good qualifying effort at Martinsville. Also got caught up in a wreck, but now he's up front with Max Service and Seth Fitzpatrick. Can he finish the job?
Well, that is what we are looking to find out. We will be restarting here with 16 laps to go. Make that 15 as the lights are still on of a safety vehicle. That means we're going to go ahead and step aside. We'll be right back with more coverage of the Father's Day 85 presented by the Raves family on the far side of this break.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
North Carolina, by the way.
Welcome, race fans, back to the iRacing Super Speedway. We're here at the virtual iRacing Super Speedway, the 3 Mile Speed Palace. And it says Concord on there, but the iRacing website says it's in Massachusetts. So, I don't know where this mystery track is, to be completely honest, but you know what? It's a fictional track anyway, it can be wherever it wants to be. So, getting ready to get back to the racing action, it is Daniel Molnix, Max Service, Seth Fitzpatrick, Jeremiah Stutzman, James Gilliard, Seth Berger, trying to catch up to his lead pack, and he's not going to be here on time. So, it's a 5-car lead pack as far as the lead lap cars, and we are back to racing from the iRacing Super Speedway. Daniel Molnix, your leader over Seth Fitzpatrick. Jeremiah Stutzman slots himself into third. Gilliard and Service end up their way towards the back of this pack, and Jennings is looking to work with the Last Chance Racing guys. So this will be intriguing to see how this fares. Also, say Adam Gardner. Adam Gardner's in race control, so I was gonna say I don't know what Gardner's affiliation is. I'd imagine it's part of Last Chance Racing as well. But he jumps to the outside with James Gilliard. And they're looking to make something work. I wonder if Service is going to take that opportunity.
Yeah, those two cars worked really well together on the last run, so why not keep it up now? Again, Gardner not really in it for the win, but Gilliard definitely used him to the advantage to get to the point and get to the first place because Gardner is a lap down. And those two just seem to work very well together, and they're doing it again. But Max right now staying where he is, just kind of staying on the bottom, playing it safe. Maybe don't want to give his cards up too quickly, as it is going to be 13 to go when they cross the line this time.
And I know it's a little early, but remember what I said. Watch when it comes to 5 to go. That third car on the inside line. Look who's up here. This 71 of Jeremiah Stutzman. I'm telling you, man. He's got something up his sleeve. He's going to try to make a move, possibly, when we get down to the later parts. But I'm telling you, you got to keep your eye on that 71 car.
So, 12 laps to go this time by from the iRacing Super Speedway. Service has found his way behind Jonathan Jennings, but Gardner and Gilliard looking to do battle once again on the outside. They go toe-to-toe. And while Fitzpatrick and Molnix are not lined up and putting much inroads on that inside lane, they are holding station there. Now Service jumps up high. It's going to be a 4v3. And I wonder how hard Stutzman is going to be working with those Last Chance guys on the inside.
Yeah, how much indeed. And, I mean, we saw with those two cars on the outside that are there right now, what they did by themselves as they get a little squirrely. But we saw what they did by themselves, and it looks like they kind of give up now. But that was something that maybe Max was trying to take advantage of. He's not going to be able to do it this time, though. Now he's got Gilliard behind him. Max looking to the outside. Gilliard looking to the outside. I'm not sure if they're going to get the run here into the turn number 3, but maybe off of 4.
Yeah, I don't think Max really wants to go yet. I think he's waiting as well. I think everybody just wants right now, besides Gilliard, I think, to just ride out and wait a little bit. But as I say that, Max jumps down to the top. Here comes Gilliard and Adam Gardner with him, but Gilliard's not going to be lined up to totally behind him yet. He's going to get to him here just about when we get to the start-finish line, but how much ground can they make up possibly?
Service and Gilliard looking to see what they can do. They have absolutely gapped Adam Gardner. So I wonder how much Gardner will try to help those guys up top. He still does jump way out there. But notice how high up the track Service gets. And he's doing that to, I guess, avoid side drafting. Fitzpatrick is now not lined up with Molnix. And they're making a little bit of contact. That inside lane is not lined up. Service looking to take advantage of that. Now he comes down, side drafts the 44. He's got a run with Gilliard. These two, they had their issues at Martinsville. Neither one of them liking each other's racing, but here they go. They're going to the point 1-2 together.
Hey, 1 week you're your enemies, the next week you're friends. That seems to be what most NASCAR drivers seem to be these days, is frenemies. And what a run indeed. That little mistake by the inside lane allows Max Service and James Gilliard to clear to the front. Now Gilliard can look to be the one to make the move on Max when he's ready. He's got some cars behind him that want to get around him, but they're going to take their move now.
Yep, Molnix goes with Seth Fitzpatrick, Stutzman, Jennings, and Gardner all going up to the top as well. But how good of a push can Fitzpatrick give to Molnix going down to turn 3? This is not the place you want to really bump the guy going into the corner, but Molnix is clear, but I don't think he's going to leave his drafting partner in Fitzpatrick behind.
It's Daniel Molnix leading the outside line. Service tries to side draft. To no avail. Now the top 3. Fitzpatrick is not even with that 44 once again. That could prove to be detrimental to their teamwork. I know Fitzpatrick's trying to get air to that nose, but you cannot be risking right rearing your pusher or the driver you're pushing with this many laps to go.
No, you can, and yeah, those pushes, while they've been great, it got them back to the front. If it is offline and catches that front car off guard at all, he's going around and possibly collecting some other guys with him with how packly tight these front 6 are.
Yeah, they're starting to get single filed up again, but who's going to be the one to jump out in front? I think it has to be, again, the 81 working with the 33. You know, the 44, the 2, the 71, and the 91 all look kind of ordinary together. I don't think they're going to make any moves. Maybe the 71 makes a move later on, or the 2 possibly, but I think we're going to see a little bit more single file going down to the start of about closing to 5 to go almost.
The lapped car of Mike Petrin, way up high, gives way to the last chance racing duo, Molnix and Fitzpatrick. Jeremiah Stutzman, the lone wolf up here, trying to see what he can do. As he jump up with Service and Gilliard, the other 2 loners up here with no real teammates. Stutzman stays in line, but look at his run for Service and Gilliard, catching the last chance duo off guard. They're not lined up yet.
No, they're not, and Max Service going to side draft the 2 car, try and keep him off of the 44 for as long as possible. Allow Gilliard to get back to his bumper off the turn. They're going to get a huge run down the front stretch.
Yeah, Adam Gardner just spun out behind them in turns 3 and 4. We stay green, but Max Service clears to the front. He's going to clear down in front of the 44, leaving the 33 Gilliard behind, but the 2 is all lined up behind the 44, giving him a shove. So let's see what happens here going down to turn 1.
Fortunately, there's connection issues going on here towards the conclusion of the Father's Day 85 here from the iRacing Super Speedway. We'll try to get those resolved as soon as possible, but unfortunately, we're going to miss out on the action here as it starts to get really intense towards the end of this race.
Yeah, it looks like I'm still in the session on my viewing screen. Unfortunately, the stream is being rebooted, but it does look like a couple of drivers were affected by that. Seth Berger, Devin Smith, both have lost connection. Seth Berger just getting back in now, but he has lost connection, trying to jump back in and maintain his 6th place finishing position. That's what it's looking like. he's going to get. Max Service still leads from the 44 of Daniel Monix, the 2 of Fitzpatrick, and the 71 of Stutzman. James Gilliard has fallen back behind the 91 of Jonathan Jennings. Jonathan Jennings laps down, multiple laps down, just hanging with this front group. There's 6 cars vying it out here. Again, the 91 cannot win, but he can influence the win if somebody goes with him or if he wants to push somebody to the win. So James Gilliard trying to work with him right now as they head down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, going into turns 3, Max Service with a comfortable little lead with Daniel Mullenix and Seth Fitzpatrick. There's a decent little gap between Fitzpatrick and Jeremiah Stutzman. Jeremiah Stutzman still waiting, I think, lingering, possibly looking to make a move, but Jonathan Jennings is just here to help anybody that needs it at this rate. With James Gilliard tucked in behind him, I think Gilliard wants to use him a little bit as a drafting boost for him, but as Mullenix gets all over the back of the 81, shoving him down the front straightaway, it's leaving a little bit of a gap for Seth Fitzpatrick, possibly to make the move, possibly going down the back straightaway to get a run with the 71. But those are the only 2 cars combined with him. The 91's a little bit too far off of the 71 to try to make a move, but it looks like they're just going to ride out for a little bit as we just hit 5 laps to go at iRacing Super Speedway.
Yeah, the 81 still leads, 44 still tucked in behind them, the 2 behind him, the 71, the 91, and the 33. Again, the 91 not going for the win here. Max Service covering that high line well, trying to keep the eyes behind him and keep those last chance racing guys at bay. He does have 2 lined up right behind him. I'm sure they're going to make their move soon as Gilliard jumps out of line in the back of the pack, trying to make something happen. Nobody goes with him, and he's going to have to fall back in line as everybody's still tucked down in the bottom. The 44 gives the 81 a push down the front straightaway. 4 laps to go as we head to turn 1.
Mullenix all over the back of the 81 going into turns 1 and 2, but Gilliard's getting the run. He's side drafting the 71 now, currently for 4th position. He's slowly but surely making his way up, but doing this is kind of leaving them out in the dust, losing the draft little by little the more he side drafts. The 71 side drafts him back, but the 91's over the back of the 71, trying to help him get clear the 33. Going down the back straightaway, though, the 2's going to be lined up with the 44. 44 all over the back of the 81, again giving him a shove down as the 91 clears the 71 of the 33, so move the 71 back into 4th. James Gilliard's going to have to wrap around back behind the 91 of Jonathan Jennings, who is multiple laps down. As we're coming now, there's just about 3 laps to go, Devin.
3 laps to go from the iRacing Super Speedway. It's Max Service out in front of Mullenix, Fitzpatrick, Stutzman, and Gilliard of the top 5. And looks like an iRacing wide issue preventing us from getting some of those laps there. But 3 laps to go. We are here and ready to take you to the conclusion. Mullenix has Fitzpatrick behind. Stutzman, where will he go? And Gilliard still working that outside of Jonathan Jennings.
Yeah, and the paint scheme's changed a little bit with the reboot here. Maybe they'll come in later, but as it is right now, they head down the back straightaway. 3 laps to go. There's going to be 2 to go the next time by. Max Service still on the point, but when are they going to make their move? I think it's going to be maybe the next lap they're going to try and make their move and tandem draft to the win of this thing. Those 2 last chance racing cars behind him.
Yeah, Max Service is doing pretty good right now, leading control, but if I'm you, I do not want to be this lead car right now in the front pack. This 44 and the 2 both look like they want to win as badly than Max Service right now. As Seth Fitzpatrick, who's coming off the win at Texas, probably wants to go back-to-back. Daniel Mullenix, who's also looking for his first win in the Outlaws Sim Series. But you got Jeremiah Stutzman in behind with Jonathan Jennings, James Gilliard, and now a new player into this, Adrian Schumacher, who's a little bit lapsed down. But that's a help for Max Service a little bit, as that's a teammate, but I don't know how much of a help it's going to be, as they're pretty separated back out in front of each other.
Yeah, they head down the back straightaway. 2 laps to go. It's going to be 1 to go next time by. They head down into turns 3 and 4. Max Service still leading. The front 3 cars have pulled away a great deal. The 71 looks like he backed up a little bit to try and get a run. 33 backed up to try and get a run. He's going to try and go around the outside of the 91. 44 gets to the outside of Max Service, though, for the lead. His teammate goes with him. 1 lap to go. The 44 out to the front. The 77 is going to take it 3 wide, and there's a wreck. Max Service goes around. He saves it, but he is way off the pace. It's a 3-car race. James Gilliard to 3rd place.
Blue Jays Gilliard to third place, looking to the outside of the 44, going into turns 1 and 2. Doesn't have the run, but Seth Fitzpatrick just about clears the 33, but don't count out that 71. Jeremiah Stutzman getting help from Jonathan James and Adrian Schumacher. The 2 gives one heck of a shove to the 44 coming down the back, but here comes Jeremiah Stutzman with help from Jonathan James getting a push down the back straight going into turn 3.
James Gilliard tried to block the 77 or 71. It did not work. Stutzman, though, had to get off the gas. It saved the run. James Gilliard looks to the outside. The 71 is with him. They are pushing to the outside of the 2 car off of turns 3 and 4. They're racing, drag racing to the line. The 44 trying to cover off the 33. Can't do it. The 2 car to the inside. 4 wide as they come to the line. Who's it going to be? 5 wide as they come to the line.
Stutzman!
Jeremiah Stutzman gets the win by .0. Oh my gosh, .0.
Did I call it or what, Devin? Did I call it?
You called it. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe that the iRacing sim had dropped the packets. Again, a couple of other drivers experiencing the same issue. Seth Berger kicked out of the session again. But Jeremiah Stutzman, 5 wide to the line, takes the win. And James Gilliard is snake bitten again. It looked like he had it for a second, but Stutzman timed his run exactly perfectly.
And what a finish. I mean, 4 wide to the line. What a finish. And James Gilliard comes up just 1/100th of a second short of getting a victory in the Outlaws Sim Series, but Jeremiah Stutzman wins at iRacing Super Speedway.
Yeah, now we're going to get to see some burnouts here from the 71 machine. Gets to burn it down for the first time this season, I believe. He won a couple times last season, but this season hasn't been able to get in the winner's circle, and this is going to do miles for his confidence. He takes this quick short burnout, and then he goes ahead and resets.
I mean, talk about a finish, Devin. I mean, we called it, you know? Super Speedways brings the best out of racing. And I know it wasn't that kind of victory that we had, but what a victory and what a job well done for Jeremiah Stutzman to wait till the very end to get that win.
Yeah, we're going to take a replay look here.
Oh, no, we're just going to go ahead and grab our interview with our race winner, Jeremiah Stutzman. Unfortunately, iRacing had prevented us to see what even happened there. But a very close finish for Jeremiah Stutzman to get his first win on the season. Jeremiah, he led 1 lap, looks like, and it was the most important lap. We saw you lose the lead draft there for a moment. I'd imagine there was some fuel strategy to come into play there. But in the end, you were right in position when you need to be most, and you got it done at the iRacing Super Speedway in a thrilling several car wide finish. Tell us about how you got it done.
Surviving. I had to survive to the end of the race there, and I really felt bad about wrecking Max. I did not mean to turn him like that. After that, the 91 got on the bumper and pushed me back up there, and there's really only one option to go.
Fair enough. As you finally get your first win on the season, you solidify yourself as a driver up well inside the top 5 in the point standings, albeit iRacing Super Speedway out of momentum here in this final run here in the regular season. How do you feel now setting yourself up for these final 9 races?
That one takes a lot of pressure off. I don't think I needed to get into the playoffs, but it is some playoff points, I believe, so that will help, and just got to get some momentum built. We kind of lost it last week.
Fair enough, and we were wondering, at this point of the season, obviously last season, you had a win to your name, and we were looking to see when you were going to bring these Joey Logano colors down in the victory lane. It seemed like, I guess, tonight here at the iRacing Super Speedway was of a night made to be. You look forward on the schedule. Next up is New Hampshire. How do you feel about the Magic Mile?
I need to find some magic, hopefully, because I do not like that track.
Well, we'll see what happens next week as we head our way up to Loudon, New Hampshire. Jeremiah Stutzman, a race winner once again in the Outlaws Sim Series. Congratulations on the victory tonight here at the iRacing Superspeedway, and best of luck to you in the coming weeks here as you run your way to the playoffs.
All right, thank you. And good job at that always, guys. And I think the field needs to go to Auto Trader. They might need a new car.
Fair enough. Driver of the number 71, Jeremiah Stutzman. And yeah, I mean, what a way for him to finally get his name on that wins list done this season. Fortunately, iRacing was not playing well with us here at the end of the race, so we now try to see if we're even going to be able to get a real results tab up for you, and I guess that are those the correct results, guys?
It looks right.
Yeah, it looks good on my end. Yeah.
Well, so let's go through them then. Jeremiah Stutzman with the race victory. James Gilliard, he'll come home in second position. Daniel Monix rounds out the podium. It's Fitzpatrick and Max Service the rest of the lead lap. Adam Gardner, he finishes 6th, 5 laps down. Seth Berger, as you heard Devin say, had a couple connection issues as well as we. He ends up in the 7th position, 6 laps down. Jonathan Jennings slugs it out. He'll get himself an 8th place finish, 8 down. Edging out Mike Petrin on the same lap, he'll be 9th. And Adrian Schumacher comes home in 10th, 29 laps down.
Yeah, and then 11th, we see Reese Schaefer, who called it quits earlier in the night, and all of the rest of these are heartbreakers. Rowe calling it quits early. Matt Rogers in the 96, Devin Smith in 13th and 95. Doug Solms in the 67, it finishes 14th. John Mickey, 69, the number 69 car, finishes 15th. Matthew Setzer in the 5 car, involved in the very first wreck of the night, and then another wreck later on, finishes 16th. Derek McMurtry, the 84 car, finishes 17th. Jacob Reeves, unfortunate mishap for our pole sitter, has a huge collision with Derek McMurtry there. And both of them were taken out on the same lap. He finishes 18th. Brad Bothwell in the 31, involved in the very first incident of the race, finishes 19th. Julio Villalobos, involved in the very first lap 1 incident, finishes 20th. And in 21st, to round out the final of the grid, is Andrew St.
Andrew St. Clair, he didn't even take the
replay.
So we weren't even really looking to go through the results of that part, but that's right. Technically, 21 drivers entered into tonight's event. 20 started. 5 finished, really. If you can even call it that. What a crazy race to this point. More post-race coverage from the Father's Day 85 is to come up next here from the iRacing Superspeedway. Don't you go anywhere. More post-race coverage from round 16 of 36 on the far side of this break.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Welcome, race fans, back to the virtual iRacing Super Speedway now in the posters coverage. As we're trying to piece together what happened with a massive iRacing outage across the service. What we do know is that James Gilliard brought it home second, and he's standing by with Devin Zimmerman.
Hey, how's it going? Congratulations on the second place finish. You gave everything you could to get that first win in the Outlaws Sim Series and came up 0.01 short. Walk us through that last lap mayhem. Maybe he wasn't there. 33 James Gilliard, this is Devin in the booth. Do you have a copy? James Gilliard, this is Devin in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Looks like we don't have a James Gilliard for the time being. We're going to go ahead and try to get then our third place finisher, Daniel Molnix. We'll give Eddie a try here in a moment. So third place finisher, Daniel Molnix now up.
What's up, man?
Daniel,
Yes.
how you doing, man? Well, I know you didn't have the start to your season that you wanted in Outlaws Sim Series, but I mean, this has got to cheer you up a little bit, right?
Yeah, not bad for being in a wreck lap 1, right? Didn't turn out so bad after all.
Yeah, man, I know you definitely haven't had the start to your Outlaws Sim Series career that you've hoped for, but I mean, you had good qualifying efforts at Martinsville and at the Indianapolis Raceway Park, but, you know, riding up front, all you did tonight, it's got to bring a little bit of a booster to you for the rest of the season going on as we go to New Hampshire next week, right?
Yes. I feel like I've been fast everywhere. It's just, you know, getting caught up in other people's stuff. Some of it's been my own fault, but, you know, majority of it hasn't, I feel like. But, you know, there's always next week. I kind of have to have that attitude about it.
Yeah, well, you definitely had the attitude tonight to pull out a top 3 finish and even lead some laps there in the end, but, you know, hopefully you have a good race next week at not Martinsville, excuse me, New Hampshire, but, how do you feel about your luck at the, Little New Hampshire Motor Speedway?
I like the flat track. I feel like it puts it, you know, a little bit more into driver's hands as far as saving tire and, you know, all that. I mean, it should essentially a bigger Martinsville in a way, and I was good there. So got wiped out early, but I think I had a really good long run car there. So I feel like next week I'll have a pretty good long run car in New Hampshire.
Well, Daniel, congratulations on your top 3, bud. I know it's not the kind of finish you were hoping for. I know you wanted to get that win so bad, but maybe we go bring that confidence booster to New Hampshire, see if you can pull out a win there. Congratulations again.
Man. Thank you.
And of course, that is third place finisher, Daniel Molnix. So go ahead and try our single place finisher, James Gilliard, one more time. Stand by with Devin Zimmerman.
Hey, this is Devin in the booth. Do you have a copy on us?
Well,
hey, 33 James Gilliard. You got a copy one more time?
looks like James Gilliard is not available for us to interview tonight, but we'll go ahead and we'll try one more person we'll bring on up. driver of number 81, Max Service. Devin, he's headed your way.
Hey, Max, this is Devin in the booth. You got a copy? Oh, he's not. There he is. Max, this is Devin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
There we go. We finally get somebody. Man, that was a crazy finish. Kind of walk us through that last lap there.
I knew I was going to get hung out for about 10 laps there. I was just kind of waiting on it. I was trying to back up as much as I could down every straightaway and every corner, and I made a plan that, last lap I was going to run full throttle down the straightaways and back them up in the corners, and I backed them up in 3 and 4 the best I could, and I tried to throw a block that really was not there at all. Just as a last hope, I was going to finish probably 5th either way. So I threw it. It didn't work. I almost killed both myself and Jeremiah, and he won the race. Thankfully for that. I kind of felt bad for throwing that block, but I'm glad he won.
Yeah, he said he didn't mean to turn you, but you're trying to go for the win and trying to get all you can at the end. So things like that are going to have, especially at a super speedway like iRacing Super Speedway. It's a very difficult race for a lot of guys. The handling, something that we normally don't see as an issue, but was put to the test today. Kind of walk us through the handling from your point of view.
So on the first run, I was the only one in our team that felt the loose, into turn 1 especially, and everybody else said it was fine, so I think I made a minor change, but nothing major. And then on the second round, we were all wrecking into the corners, just super, super, super loose into turn 1 and 3. Just nothing to, I don't know. But I tightened this thing up all race long, and it didn't get really, it got better, but it didn't get good enough to where I was comfortable into the corner. So if you noticed, every time I was leading or Seth was leading, we would arc the corners just to try and not be loose, because if we entered on the bottom, we were going to wreck.
Right, and we saw you guys kind of taking that new line through the turns, and it seemed to be working very well. Unfortunately for Seth, he kind of got involved in a couple of incidents, and you were kind of left out there without a teammate. Kind of walk us through how it was making those moves at the end to get yourself where it was. You had a chance to get the win, but ultimately not to be for a little bit there. Kind of walk us through what you were doing to stay up front and to get yourself in a position to try and win the race.
I was lagging off there. I knew the 4 in front of me were teammates. So I knew that winning the race was really, really unlikely. So I backed up, got myself a run. Kind of was hoping I'd get Gilliard to help a little bit, and thankfully he went with me and got me to the lead. And then from after that, we had done that before, but that one I kept the lead, and they decided to stay behind me. And then we just kind of ran out front to the end, single file, and then obviously got hung out off turn 4, which I knew was coming. But props to Jeremiah for the win. I'm happy for him. I'm glad he got the win. Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, it's nice to see a guy get a win, but I know you definitely wanted to get out there and win it. You still are maintaining the points lead. Kind of walk us through what you're looking for next week at New Hampshire, and kind of what you have in the bag going forward the rest of the season.
Well, we're heading to my home track. That is 13-ish hours away or something like that. So hopefully we can run good, and hopefully we can have a setup that isn't wrecking loose in those corners, and maybe for 1 week I won't bleed points every single opportunity I can, because the only points I gained on Seth were the points from finishing 5th instead of 6th.
Oh, yeah. Well, you do have some races coming up. You said that the New Hampshire race you're looking forward to as a home track. So appreciate your taking the time to talk with us, and good luck the rest of the season. We'll let you get back down.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That's driver of the number 81, Max Service. And Well, that's pretty much going to do it for our coverage here of the Father's Day 85 from the iRacing Super Speedway. But we are not done. This is what's coming up for us here at Pit Stop TV. We have a new series on the rise. We have the return of the North American Racing League. Tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, their Porsche Cup Series Season 2 is underway with the Okayama International Circuit. The season opener tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You won't want to miss that. Then Monday evening, it'll be the debut of a series to Pit Stop TV. The Lone Star Racing GT3 Series, starting off at Circuit of the Americas. If I've had to draw a conclusion, Lone Star State, Austin, Texas. I think that's where that correlation comes from. Monday night, 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You won't want to miss that. And then next Wednesday night, the Outlaws Sim Series has the 17th round of 36 from the Magic Mile at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Boys, quite a slate of races we got coming up. Devin, what are you looking forward to? And then Ed, after that.
Yeah, I'm looking for that Okayama track for the North American Racing League. That is a very fun circuit to run, and looking for those GT3 cars to really light up that track. And then, of course, Circuit of the Americas, one of the iconic road courses in the United States, in Austin there. And again, another GT3 series, and we know that GT3 cars can get around that track fairly quickly, and it's a very fun drive in any car at Circuit of the Americas. Then, of course, New Hampshire, we got a tight points battle for the regular season points title, and it's going to be really good to see who comes out on top at New Hampshire, that tricky turn 2. So, I mean, the good slate of races coming up here in the next week.
And, Devin didn't really leave me with much options here, but I'm going to go with the Lone Star Racing GT3 series. I mean, I cannot love GT3s. I mean, especially we're going to Circuit of the Americas. Your place, Em. You love Circuit of the Americas. But, GT3s are just one of the class of the field at iRacing with how they drive. We got the BMWs, you got the Porsches, you got the Audis, you got the Ford GTs. You never know. Might be somebody who sneak out a Ford GT out there somewhere. But, it's all going to be fun. You can see follow all the updates on our social medias with Facebook.com/PitStopTV. You got Twitter.com/PitStopTV_, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, YouTube.com/C/PitStopTV1, or as some of you may be watching now currently on our Twitch channel, Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV.
Also, shout out to all of our friends, everybody watching on the Outlaws YouTube and Facebook page as well. I want to thank you all for tuning in and joining us for the action tonight. And I want to give a huge shout out to Ed Shear and Devin Zimmerman joining me up in the booth this evening. I am feeling very under the weather, and then the frustrations with internet and iRacing, that onto that, it has not been a pleasant combination for myself this evening. But of course, I can always count on my two boys, Devin and Ed, to hold down the fort even when things are just not going my way on this side of things. So Devin, Ed, thank you once again for joining me tonight and keeping everything going in the right direction with me this evening. But gentlemen, that's going to do it for us this evening. Once again, thank you all for tuning in across all of our social media platforms, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night for the season opener of the North American Racing League Porsche Cup Series Season 2 from the Okayama International Circuit. But if not, we'll see you next Wednesday night for Outlaws Sim Series action from Loudon, New Hampshire.